Gaming news today is all about PlayStation. First, I think it's time for a PlayStation showcase. I have a video coming today on the channel. We're going to try something a little bit new. Sometimes the uploads are going to hit while I'm live, so if you're watching the live stream, you can check it out when it hits. And I walk through all the reasons why I think they should be doing a showcase this year, so be sure to check that out later. Maybe you're watching this later, and you can check it out and let me know what you think. Second, Horizon Zero Dawn, or in this case, Horizon 3, there's info about when it will land in direct relation to the Horizon multiplayer game, but the question is, which multiplayer game and when? Third, Helldivers 2 had a big update land, and it brings some unexpected features, so we'll be taking a look. And if you're watching this later, one of the best ways to support this channel is to hit like and subscribe. That way you're here for the live shows. And if you want to get into the extra content, the reason I'm able to do this full time is because of the direct support of members. So click join, make sure you pick Member Plus, and that gets you into all those extra shows. Twitch, you guys too, I do extra shows, and eventually you're not going to be able to see those unless you are a subscriber, and you also get no ads on my Twitch channel when you're a sub. Consider supporting in those various ways, as well as the coffee and all the other things. All right, so let's get into this, and always remember to smack the like button if you're on YouTube. So I think it's time for a PlayStation showcase, and well, why do I think that? Well, the simple answer is there's just too many games. There's way too much time that has passed. And you might be saying, well, what games? It's been a little bit of light, been a little slow, right? Well, just this year alone, we have Lost Soul Aside, we have Death Stranding 2, and we have Ghost of Yotei, and that's just 2025. And then beyond 2025, 2026 is shaping up to be very full as well. Intergalactic from Naughty Dog, Sorrows from Housemarque, Wolverine from Insomniac, and Phantom Blade Zero. Okay, this doesn't even consider the potential of a GTA 6 marketing deal that we've heard about. So I think this is a good enough reason to have that mid-gen showcase where they talk about everything coming this year and then everything coming the next. Let me know what you think in the comments below, or we can discuss this in the live stream. Also, apparently there is a Horizon 3 on the way. If you're a long-standing supporter of the Horizon franchise, you might be excited to hear this. Pulling from Insider Gaming, quote, rumor suggests Horizon 3 launches in 2027 with online multiplayer title releasing first. And you might be asking, well, which is the Horizon multiplayer game that will be launching first? There's sort of an MMO, and then there is the co-op multiplayer game that we have heard about. Well, this is what Insider Gaming has to say. It's known that Guerrilla Games' next major project is likely a Horizon multiplayer title. There were suggestions that this game was canceled, but this has been proven false. Development seems to be moving along, and now Horizon 3 could be arriving after it to turn the series into a definitive trilogy. And they did indicate that there would be more solo player experiences with Aloy. It just makes sense to do a trilogy since Zero Dawn and Forbidden West have been so incredibly successful. So what do we know about this Horizon 3? Well, quote, according to TCMF Games, Horizon 3 is currently in development. It will be based around Nemesis and is looking to potentially launch in 2027. They suggest that it could be a potential PS6 launch title too. They finished by adding that Horizon Online arrives first. If Horizon 3 is going to be a PlayStation 6 title, it would likely be later than 2027. That's far too early. A cross-gen title in 2028 or 2029 would make more sense. And it makes sense also to launch the Horizon Online game first. I don't think you would do the multiplayer game as a sort of late addition. We also heard about that one before we heard anything about a third Horizon game. So we could potentially see a brand new Horizon game in 2026, and it would likely be Guerrilla's multiplayer version of the title. What do you think? Let me know in the comments below, or we can discuss it in the live show. And in case you missed it, Helldivers 2 has been doing some events. There's clues, there's hints that something big was coming, and well, the update is here. They have new enemies, new ways to customize your loadout, and from the official PlayStation blog, this is what they say. They say that Helldivers are being given access to a robust new weapon customization feature for the bulk of our primary weapon offerings. More primary weapons now have levels that are achievable by completing missions, which then in turn unlock new attachments obtainable through requisition. In addition to attachments, players can also unlock patterns for their weapons. So that's the new things you can do with your weapons, and a brand new enemy or new units is there with the Illuminate, so you're going to want to be on the lookout for that. And lastly, they've also updated the Superstore to always have items so that you don't have to wait for them to rotate back through if you want to buy them. Now, is this update drawing you back into Helldivers 2, or do you need something more significant? Let me know in the comments below, or we can discuss it in the live show. And I don't have a game for your wishlist or your radar today. I know that is something that you guys like and you've kind of grown accustomed to. I am sorry. I was flying by the seat of my pants today. We had to add a bunch of things to the show open that happened overnight, so that always kind of constrains my morning. And then I was trying to help the fam get out the door because they had something going on. Well, I wasn't helping them, but I was going upstairs and we were kind of getting in each other's way. So appreciate you guys and all that you do. And yes, the game to put on your wish list and your radar is Doom. I'll be playing Doom today on the PS5 Pro to check out its performance given what we covered yesterday. So do me a favor on YouTube, get us to 100 likes. Get us that first 100 likes. That is hugely helpful to these streams. And Joker Quinn, Han shot first and so did you. First gifted member over here on YouTube and gets us to 129. And we have a friendly little competition now down here in the corner you can see between Twitch and YouTube. The first site, the first platform to get to 25, I give 10 instead of the 5. So whoever gets there first, we give you that. And so we got one coming in here from Old Soul. A brand new renewal, 40 months. That's a long time, Old Soul. And Twitch continues its little lead here. We'll see if YouTube lets it. And we're now a 20 bomb away from 150, which is the next milestone where I owe you guys. I do owe you guys some stuff, but I'm going to make sure and upload this video to the back end here for Creature. That way he can use, if he wants any of those videos from the show open, to be shorts, he's got them. There you go, sir. And all three of those I think could be useful. And the upload about the PlayStation Showcase will be hitting any minute now. If you guys want to check it out, that one's going to be a little bit more robust than my show open. My show open was a bit of a flyover. And John Lipkowski comes in and bumps the line to 131, and he gives YouTube a fighting chance here. He gives YouTube a fighting chance to pull ahead of Twitch in the race. The Precinct comes out today. Too bad it's 30 FPS. I think it's really weird that smaller devs keep prioritizing 4K. I mean, maybe that's easier. I don't know. It seems weird that's now happened with two games that have come out in pretty close succession. Revenge of the Savage Planet and now the Precinct. I'm like, okay, I'm not really sure why this is becoming a thing, but it's becoming a thing. And Game Logic with the 10 bomb says YouTube's gonna take the lead. Thank you so much, Game Logic. I appreciate your continued support. I also like your contributions on Twitter. Always good to read those lengthy threads, even if I misparaphrase it this morning in Morning Coffee. But we got the point across. And there it is, 141. And in the little contest, hang on, no, that should be 13. There we go. The 10 bomb on top of the 3. There it is. That YouTube is taking the lead by 1. Twitch. Thank you so much, Game Logic. Monster Hunter Wilds is currently the best-selling game of 2025 in the U.S. Man, oh man, that thing sold like crazy. And DK Baker with the single gifted comes in and says, make it one more. Bump it a little bit more, he says. And he gets us to 14 over the 12. It's a first to 25 race between the platforms. It's okay, you were trying to talk tech. I give you a lot of grace in that situation. Yeah. GTA 4 remaster rumor. Yeah, I've seen this rumor about the GTA 4 remaster. It's very interesting. I mean, I could see doing something like that on the runway to the big game. That wouldn't be a new that certainly wouldn't be a new development. I mean, a lot of companies have done similar things over the years. You know, they like to drop a remaster, they like to drop a remake, right before they've got or on the road to the big thing. Agree he did good. I don't think I could even re-articulate my argument from yesterday's post from memory. Yeah, I tried. I did my best. I read it when I was a little sleepy this morning, and so I did my absolute best. And DK Baker's going to gift another single. Thank you so much, sir. And he's going to bump the line to 143. DK Baker, man, for the longest time was like the single gifted king. He's setting up Twitch to maybe blast ahead there. 15 over the 12. A 10 bomb would secure. It's a race to 25. We'll see who gets it. I do owe YouTube. I believe we were at what? Yeah, I owe you guys 10 and I owe 5 to Twitch. That's what I currently owe. So I will do that momentarily. Rockstar would call it the definitive edition for sure. Well, who cares what they call it, right? And DK Baker is going to be joined by Joker Quinn in the single gifted effort and takes the grand total on the week to 144. And then the little contest jumps to 16 over 12. So thank you guys so much. And then a super chat from always Super Googly says, not going to lie, Xbox games have been cooking lately. Sony needs something exclusive before Intergalactic comes out in 2046 real quick and real bad. You mean like Lost Soul Aside, Death Stranding 2, and Ghosts of Yote? Or did you forget about those? And a 5-bomb comes in from Pathalon Phoenix, and he takes the total for YouTube to 21. And just like that, Twitch is getting left in the dust. Are you going to answer back, Twitch? It's a race of the first 25. And YouTube almost has it in the bag. Almost has it in the bag. They call the trilogy a remaster, and Gambit Zero's going to secure it, but Jay Stubbles does it at the same exact time. I'm not kidding you. A 10-bomb over here on Twitch to take you guys to 22 on Twitch, but then Gambit Zero does the 5-bomb and gets us to 26. It was a knockdown, drag-out fight. It really was. And another 5-bomb comes in from Wired Rope. Holy mackerel. It is... I don't know how we should count that. Like, who gets it first or who gets more? I'm not sure. And then that takes us to... Oh, gosh. I'm having a hard time now. Where were we? Were we at 149 before Gambit and J Stubbs? J Stubbs is... That's 20. So are we at 169? Where were we before they did that? I'm keeping track of two things now. I think we were at 1... Yeah. I think that's 20. That's 169 on the total, I believe. I believe we were at 149 before they did that. And a 50 bomb comes in from MASH, and he flexes his Hulk-like status over here on YouTube. And it's now 76 to 27. Sorry, Twitch. I mean, that's not really there's not really much you can do about that, Twitch. You need your own version of MASH. You really, really do. You guys need to go out and recruit yourselves a MASH. And then that is going to be what is that? It's going to be 219. I can't type. There we go. MASH, stop making everyone feel so inadequate. Yes. Oh, man. So it's also a race to 100, which YouTube is now very close to that. So 76 to 27. We've got 2 races every day. PlayStation making a showcase. I basically argued, and thank you for the single gifted DK Baker. He's going to round out the total for the week nicely to 220, and he's going to round out the competition here, 77 to 27. I mean, right there. Come on, Twitch. You just need a 50 bomb to tie it. Video time. Yeah, my video is up right now. If you guys want to help jumpstart it, I'm going to provide you with the link. You can go watch it. Throw it on like ×2. This is my argument about why PlayStation should do a showcase. So if you're interested, go give it a watch-a-rooney. Come back. I'll be reading through your comments live on this stream to see what you guys think. When you help jumpstart and upload, it's extremely helpful to us, and you can come back to the live show. I'm not going to take a break or anything. I'll just be here, waiting for you to get back. And thank you for already over 100 likes on the channel. I walk through all the games this year and all the games for next year. I talk about GTA 6 as a factor. I talk about being midway through the gen as a factor. So all of that is in that video. You're going to want to check it out. We put that together last night for you guys, and it gives us the ability to kind of do both. We want to be able to do both. We want to be able to do uploads and live streams, and you guys really enable us to do that with your gifted subs, with your support, with your patronage, as well as when you check out a video as soon as it hits. So be sure to do that. It is live right now on the channel. It's time for a showcase, chat. It is time for a showcase. It's not a very long video. It's only like 8 minutes. So I appreciate you guys so much piling on those videos whenever they first start. The biggest thing to do when you watch those videos is leave a like, leave a comment, and then I'll feature you guys in the live show. I'll go read your comments. So the link is in chat for everybody. No Socratic exchange in the Agora, just brand repping. Thanks, Matt. Game logic, the opposite. The reason I engage is because I want to hear different views, especially if you have an informed one. Please don't change it. You win for today. I will say mobile gaming will take over consoles. Are you guys debating something? MASH and game logic? That would be a good debate. You guys, everybody went crazy with gifteds, and I thank you for that. What a great start to the week. And we do have Doom Guy with us today. Cheers, bro. Give him a little chest bump. You show us the Doom? Yeah, sure. So his cape is really cool, but it has these two plastic things that like push into his shoulders. Be careful when you push those in because you can break them. And you can also swap out his hand. This hand actually pulls out, and you can put in a hand that is holding a shotgun. So I've opted for the ball and chain. It's a little bit more, medieval, a little more hardcore. Oh, and see, I knocked it out of its position. I don't know which one it is. There's a particular one that fits. There we go, and it goes right there in that spot. And then this is the hand. Oop. I'm gonna break it. This is the hand with the shotgun. Still, he'll just kind of like have that one pointing down as well. Would you ever get a pit bull? No, I would not. I'm not really. I love dogs, but I don't want one, and I certainly wouldn't want that one. I think that's a flail. Ball and chain is marriage. Sorry. All the medieval armor, all the medieval weaponry guys are like groaning. They're like, he called the flail the ball and chain. Yeah, he called the poop. Let's see if we have any comments on the video right now. Brett Play Game says it's basically necessary at this point, especially with GTA 6 being delayed. The hype machine needs spinning up. So guys, go check out my video. It's live right now. PlayStation, it's time for a showcase. I'm reading through the comments right now, and I agree. I don't know what they're waiting on. It's been multiple years now. They've got so many things they could talk about, so many things they could walk out into the public. So go watch that video and leave a comment. I'll put the link in chat one more time, so both Twitch and YouTube, you guys can see that link. Give that video some love. Give it a like, give it a comment, give it a watch. That helps us out. That thing is literally running right now while we are live. I'm actually going to pin a comment. We've not done this in a while. Having an upload running while we're live can be a little counterproductive because you guys are all in here and a lot of you are the ones who would like watch the video. But there's also a ton of people who ordinarily just watch the uploads. And so I'm just going to go ahead and pin a live discussion comment on that video for anybody who wants to bounce back here. Dan left a comment and says, I agree with you on the showcase. It makes way too much sense that they should have one. As someone who is getting the Pro, it's exciting to have the opportunity to play these games. Halfway through the PS5 gen, it is time. I just think it's time. I make that argument in the video, so go obviously and go see what I have to say. I'm not going to cannibalize the video, but it's halfway through the gen. It's time. It's time to come out, show what you got, show what's coming. Quit doing this thing where you got to keep everything secretive and quiet. Like I appreciate an approach, to marketing that says less. Okay, I do. I appreciate marketing that says less. I think sometimes that's what's gotten other platforms into trouble. I mean, I was just talking about that this morning with marketing in general. Like another game came out and said it was delayed. The Hydra game, the Marvel Hydra game, and I'm like, well, you wouldn't have to delay it if you guys would just wait until and are confident in your release date. It's time for the PlayStation 6. Wait, are you saying you think it's time for the PlayStation 6, or they won't do a showcase until it's time for the PlayStation 6? What exactly are you saying? Lono at 2 times is like listening to Ben Shapiro talk video games. Yes, it is very similar. It is. What was the Android dockable? You drop your phone into a slot in the laptop and the phone would become the laptop. I actually don't know what that is. No. Gets boring and dry when everything is secret. I think you get to a point where you just have too many things. They've announced so many things. They've announced so many games. It's like, come on. It's time to kind of line them up and really flex. There's an argument that PlayStation hype train is not equaling their last 2 years of the PS4. The marketing needs some chutzpah. Well, and if you listen to the video, there's so many things they could flex right now. Just this year, you have Lost Soul Aside, you have Death Stranding 2, you have Ghosts of Yotei. Okay, we don't need to pretend that like Death Stranding 2 and Ghosts of Yotei are not big. Those are big. We know those are big. You know, Lost Soul Aside is one of their first efforts with the China Hero Project. One of their first big efforts, with the China Hero Project. And we know annual Call of Duty is always good for them. And then next year, you've got Soros, you've got Intergalactic, you've got Wolverine, you've got Phantom Blade Zero, you've got... I'm forgetting one. I forget what it's called. I'm forgetting one. I had them all in my head and now I've lost them. There was another one other than Phantom Blade Zero. Intergalactic, Soros, Wolverine. Oh no, that's what it is. It's those four. Intergalactic, Soros, and Wolverine. I think those are the four. I believe those are the four that I thought of. No, Hell Is Us is not a PlayStation game. I don't think they even have a deal with it or anything. So they've got three. That's three. No, that's four. They've got three they could talk about this year and four they could talk about for next year. So again, they've got Soros, Intergalactic, Wolverine, and Phantom Blade Zero all slated for next year. So 4 for next year, 3 for this year. Again, I don't know why you wouldn't walk that out as like, hey, we're middle of the gen, especially considering they haven't done anything the first half of this year. They stack the back half of 2025. The back half of 2025 is Lost Soul Aside, Death Stranding 2, and Ghosts of Yotei. All of those are somewhat close together. So to me, it makes perfectly good sense. You would say, all right, that's a great way to kick off your showcase. That's a great way to kick off your showcase. You're like, hey, we're about to start 2025, and we're not done. 2026, we've got even more. No, Phantom Blade Zero is not this year. The devs have specifically come out and said it's next year. Now, on my video about it, if you guys haven't gone and checked out that video, go and check out that video. Pac-Man on a Bike left a comment and said, agree, the lineup of games is plenty long to justify a show. They might not want to show new footage of all their games, but we have plenty coming soon that they should be willing and ready to show. Yeah, the time for silence is over. The time for silence is over. I don't think it's time to play the coy PlayStation game anymore where you don't say anything. There's a showcase. I'm arguing that there should be one. We've heard a rumor that they're planning something. So the video is not a video about rumors, but I can talk to you about the rumors right now. Jeff Grubb said earlier this year that PlayStation was debating between PlayStation Showcase and a PlayStation State of Play. He said they were leaning Showcase, okay? And that makes sense to me. It's been 2 years since they've done one, and we're in the middle of the gen, and they have way more games than ever to talk about. This is not like last year where they would have had less to say. This year, they have plenty to say. They announced Intergalactic. They announced Soros. They've announced Wolverine. We know about they've announced, and we've got Phantom Blade Zero, right? Are they counting Destiny content? Who would count Destiny content? No. So those are the 4 they could talk about for next year, and then there's 3 they could talk about for this year. That's a lot. I mean, that's more than they would have been able to talk about last year. Last year, they would have been able to say nothing because we weren't sure about anything's release timing. Yotei, maybe. Death Stranding 2, I don't know if they knew back then what the release timing or what the release window would be. Who would count Destiny? He says with disgust in his voice. Sorry. Talica left a comment and said, given how close it is to Summer Game Fest and other companies' shows, I definitely agree it's time for a showcase. I'm ready for one. PlayStation loves to do stuff late May as well. They love to do stuff late May. They do. Like late May is like that's like their favorite time because they basically get to kick off Summer Game Fest. Yeah, there's also the Cory Barlog project. Exactly. Exactly. Oh man, you guys are piling on. Yo, my man Odie is on there. He says facts. Indeed. Good to see you, Odie. Good to see you, Odie. In the comment section on my video. Appreciate you, man. We haven't interacted in a while. I appreciate him. Pathalon Phoenix left a comment and says, do you think they would want to compete against GTA? I think they are working with Rockstar, to be honest. I think they're working with Rockstar. I don't think they're trying to compete with GTA. GTA 6, if it lands in that May window, I mean, that's kind of perfect. That's honestly kind of perfect for them because then that's easy to avoid. You could do 1 or 2 games in the first half of the year, 1 or 2 games in the second half of the year, and then you just let GTA eat up the summer. You know? You can't just skip the year because GTA 6 is launching. You got to do something. You know? I don't know. A Reckless Gambit says, I'd like to see a showcase for sure. I'm just not sure how they feel that they need to do it. Are they getting a little too comfortable at the top? Every 2 years feels like a good rhythm. I think every 2 years feels like a good rhythm. It allows them to not have to feel like, honestly, at this point, they could do one every year, probably, because what you could start doing is, so like next year's showcase, they could talk about whatever games are left that year. Let's just say like Wolverine is left for, you know, like a late 2026 and Sorrows, okay? So they could talk about those. And then again, you turn in the second half of the showcase and you start talking about the next year. You're like, this is what's coming next year. Do you see another industry insider says GTA 6 might be delayed even further? I mean, are they speculating that because it's such a big game that it still could get another delay? Or are they saying they've heard something? Also, according to Detective Seeds, who has sources at PlayStation, he said that he has heard there is an event coming, but he can't get a word. He can't get whether it's a state of play or a PlayStation showcase, just that there is an event coming. So, there you go. Def Driver left a comment on the upload, said, as a gamer, watching a showcase and getting pumped about it is the best. I agree. I keep hitting caps lock on this keyboard. I agree. And this guy says, okay, I'm going to reply and say, okay, Sony should show the goods, says the Cisco. They should. Let me know what you guys think on my upload, man. Make sure you guys check it out. Leave a comment. A bunch of you already did. Thank you for doing that. I know it's a little unorthodox for us to have an upload running while I'm live, but it enables us to kind of, you know, hit 2 sides of the channel. There are people that like to watch uploads. There are people that like to watch lives. So they get a quick 8-minute version of my thoughts on a PlayStation showcase. Love Seeds, but he said last December a big anniversary event was happening and nothing happened. Oh, that's right. He did say that. I wonder what happened with that. All right, I'm delaying ads on YouTube. We try to only let those automated ads run once an hour. If you guys are getting ads on Twitch, you can bypass those on my channel by becoming a subscriber. And there is a friendly little competition here. The first to 100. Twitch, YouTube's pretty much got it in the bag unless somebody drops a 50 bomb on Twitch. I mean, there have been some big ones lately, so we'll see. Currently, Jay Stubbles is leading the gifted subscribers over here on Twitch, so thank you, Jay Stubbles. PlayStation having an event. The current rumor is that they were debating between Showcase and State of Play. They were leaning towards Showcase. We also have another person saying they have heard there is a PlayStation event coming, but they don't know what kind of event it will be. The reason I think it's time, as I argued in my latest upload, is that we're halfway through the gen. It makes sense, you know. It makes sense. You talk about everything coming this year, everything coming next year, and you're basically setting the tone for the second half of the gen. Listen, I think I mentioned this in my video. If they can avoid the price hike, if they can hold on price and not budge on price, walking out with the showcase at the end of May, so the whole month they just get to like not do a price hike, and they get to come out end of May and talk about how strong the rest of the year is, with Lost Soul aside, Death Stranding 2, and Ghosts of Yotei, and then they talk about how strong 2026 is, and they talk about like Intergalactic, Sorrows, Wolverine, Phantom Blade Zero, Okay, those are all games I can talk about for next year. And you haven't done a price jump? Dude, that's compelling to people. They'll be like, hey man, they didn't raise the prices on their console. Look how many games they have coming out. And yes, they will continue to do this in their showcases or state of plays. They will flex their third-party muscle. Why wouldn't you? When you're the king, everybody's coming to you. So, of course, they're going to be like, yeah, this third party, this third party, this third party. They're probably going to have a ton of third party in their events. That's a continued theme you're going to see for both Xbox and PlayStation. I don't think they're going to shy away from that. I don't think third party is like this evil, undesirable thing in a showcase. I know we've kind of turned it into that in like scorekeeping in the console war, but it just isn't true. Having a lot of third party at your showcase is not a bad thing. Midnight Walk, Death Stranding 2, Lost Soul Aside, Ghosts of Yote, Ballad of Antera, Where Winds Meet, Phantom Blade Zero, Saros, Wolverine, Sword of the Sea, Intergalactic, Fair Games. Probably missing some, but it's a start to exclusives. Yeah, you're missing... I don't think you're missing anything. No, you're not. Well, Fair Games and Marathon, we could count both of those, but those are like multiplats on PC and their live service, and I don't know. I've got my thoughts about Marathon. I got my thoughts about Fair Games as well. And thank you so much for renewing your membership. J Hart, 3 whole months. And he takes the member count to 221. And then Madam, I'm sorry, not Madam. The total count between the two. It's time for RE9. Helldivers 2 and Wukong still not being on Xbox, says MASH. Do you think it's a reflection of the appetite that some devs may have towards porting to Xbox not being much? Well, Helldivers 2 is a property, that IP is owned by PlayStation, so I doubt it's coming to Xbox for that reason. Black Myth Wukong is an entirely different problem. That is not a well-optimized game. I don't think they handled it all that well with, how they used frame gen. So more than likely what you're dealing with Black Myth Wukong is they probably cannot get it to run all that well on the Series S. It doesn't even run that well on the PlayStation. A lot of guys glossed over that and wanted to pretend that it ran perfectly fine on the PlayStation. This is untrue. This is an objective thing. You can say that it was fine and you tolerated it, but the tech breakdown of how that game runs on PlayStation is not worthy of anything that we would consider to be like praise or admiration. So I would say it coming to Xbox is not going to happen anytime soon. Bro hates Black Myth. That's completely inaccurate. I was cheering for it. I was following it for 4 years. I said it was a Game of the Year contender before it even came out. And then they brought it to the market with an egregious use of frame gen. You should not use frame gen to double the frames of a 30 FPS game. It creates input latency, input drops, terrible performance issues. Digital Foundry called it an abuse of the technology. So I'm stating facts and you're calling me a hater, so we're not on the same level of conversation right now. I'm just speaking facts about the game. I'm not hating at all. I was cheering for it. It was one of my most anticipated games. So I don't know what to tell you. I don't think it's been money had it. I don't think it's some secret exclusivity deal. I think that has been debunked 10 times over. People in the know have said there was no exclusivity deal. There was no quid pro quo. They were helping them bring the game to console, and you can clearly see that they needed help bringing it to console. It is still not in a great state. I don't think it runs well at all on console. The bulk of its copies sold on PC, in China, and so it got great results there. It runs well on good rigs. People on PC have enjoyed it very, very well, but the performance mode on PlayStation is horrendous. So, Intergalactic is more prime for a showcase probably now in the last year or two. Same for Yote. Yeah, I mean, you've got so much you could show with Yote. You could show more of Intergalactic and give a release window. You could do, there's a lot that you could do. That's why I think it's time for a showcase. Got some more comments on my showcase video. Brian says, I think they should show what's been announced for 2026. That's what the year of launching. So anything from now until next May, they could showcase every year for the time being. Yeah, I agree. I think that's a perfectly good cadence to do with your showcase. Nace9 says, I think PlayStation is done with showcases. The showcase name, they seem happily splitting their announcements among multiple state of plays. You could be right, but it's only been 2 years, and the last one was after 2 years as well. They may, I mean, if you think about it, the last showcase they did, they took 2 years off, and then they did one. We could be looking at that being the interval of when they like to do them. They like to spread them out for some reason. Yo, what's good, Feed? I see you in the chat. They're working on DLC for Wukong also, so I feel like the Series S port is just low priority until that's done. I mean, that's probably correct as well if you're working on additive content. That can certainly be a factor. Y'all that are watching on YouTube, man, what a nice strong start. Make sure you guys are smashing the like button. Try to get us to 200 likes. Let me get this straight. I'm saying Xbox is having a good year of games, and you're defending PlayStation for spacing out their games. PlayStation releases remasters just like Xbox. That's not new. Xbox have been killing it the last 2 years and counting. This Xbox game train now hopefully will not slow down. The last 2 years? Huh? What are you talking about? The last 2 years? It's been a good 6 months, brother, not 2 years. Where are you getting 2 years from? Last year was like nothing until Indiana Jones, basically. And Indiana Jones was great. Stalker 2 was an exclusivity deal, and it did not do that great. I mean, it ran better on PC. Console version was pretty bad. I wouldn't say 2 years. I would say they've had a really, really good 6 months, and the next 6 months look even better. I think they're on the upswing, but I don't think they've had like a killer 2 years. They're on an upswing, undeniable upswing. Things are turning around. That's undeniable. Indiana Jones looked and ran great. Avowed, okay, that was fine. Oblivion remastered. They announced the Gears of War Reloaded. That's like, what, a couple months away. You got Doom this week. You got Outer Worlds 2. You got your annual Call of Duty at some point. Yeah, South of Midnight. They are certainly on an upswing. I will never deny that, but I would never say 2 years. That means all the way back in 2023 to now you feel like they've been killing it. I don't think so at all. They've had some really rough spots, and they've had some pretty not great releases as well. Like, I didn't think Hellblade 2 should be considered a great release. It was just not, I don't want to re-debate that, but yeah, they are on an upswing, and they're primed to have their best year yet. I think this is going to be their best year. I do. I do. I think it's going to be their best year yet. And I think Doom is the bigger kickoff. I think it's a bigger kickoff than like Avowed and South of Midnight. Oblivion was crazy. What a crazy surprise, and it did incredibly well. But in the realm of like new, I mean, come on, let's go, dude. I can't wait to dive into Doom later today with y'all. Starfield and Forza Motorsport should not be pointed to as examples of operational excellence and delivery, by no means. That's what I'm saying. Those two games also, and Redfall, I mean, those are embarrassing releases. Those were very, very bad releases. I'm not defending Hellblade 2. That was a movie, not a game. Right, so you've got Hellblade 2, Forza Motorsport, Starfield, and Redfall all in the mix. So no, I don't think so. The last 2 years for Xbox have been shaky at best. The last 6 months have been, they're definitely picking up, and it's looking good. It is. I hope that Outer Worlds 2 looks a whole lot better than the current gameplay showings. Hi-Fi Rush was like February. That was beyond the last 2 years. If you go within just the last 2 years, that contains Redfall, Starfield, Forza Motorsport, Hellblade 2, No offense, but you can't have a drought, and when you finally start outputting your backlog, you call it killing it. This is fair, AOZ. This is fair pushback. Yeah. Yeah, it's hard to celebrate Hi-Fi Rush when Xbox closed the studio that made it. It's kind of hard to celebrate that one. Like, well, we got Hi-Fi Rush. And it's like, yeah, and then they closed the dadgum studio. XS left a comment on my video about the PlayStation Showcase. He says, it's definitely time for a showcase, as you said. This is the time to show what's coming for the latter half of the gen. Lost Soul aside, Death Stranding 2, Yote just for this year, Saros, Intergalactic, Phantom Blade Zero, possibly Wolverine for next year, a couple more. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Too much to not have a showcase. They have too much. Like, you know, people want to, if people want to do the whole, like, PlayStation has no games, I mean, they can say that. That's fine. Right now is one of the first times we could say they've actually announced a ton. Let me say, let me say this differently. Oh, I'm getting my, rescheduled? They're delivering it today? Okay. I better turn the ring off of snooze in case I need to go sign for it. Let me say it a different way. In times past, we would say it's time for a PlayStation Showcase so all the studios can tell us what they've been working on. This is entirely different. We don't need a PlayStation Showcase for them to tell us what they've been working on. We need a PlayStation Showcase to walk out everything coming this year. You've got what I would consider to be three really nice games. You got Lost Soul aside, Death Stranding 2, and Ghost of Yote. You kind of sandbagged, for whatever reason, they sandbagged, and those are all coming second half of the year. Okay, great. That's a great time to use them in your showcase. You also don't have to tell us what all these other studios are working on because you've already announced Intergalactic. You've already announced Saros. You've already announced Wolverine. You've already announced Phantom Blade Zero. You don't have to announce anything new. Yo, J-Dog Tech, thank you so much for subscribing over here on Twitch. I appreciate you using your Prime. Listen, you're keeping Twitch in the fight. It's a race to 100. If on a given day, one of the platforms gets to 100, that platform gets 10. I'm going to gift 10. I owe you guys a little bit, though. I owe 5 on Twitch from the other day, and so I'm going to do that right now. There we go. That's what I owe you guys over here on Twitch. And then I owe you guys as well on YouTube. I'm going to hold off, though. I'm just going to do the Twitch one for now. If you get a sub to my Twitch, you will never see an ad on my Twitch channel. It's a great reason to use your Twitch Prime. If you watch on YouTube and you don't watch on Twitch, but you pay for Amazon Prime, that's a really great way to support me. Just use your Twitch Prime on me every month. And a 5-bomb comes in from Wired Rope. Boom. Thank you so much, Wired Rope, and he's keeping Twitch in the fight. They now have 33. I don't know what's going on. Why does it just keep popping? It should have only popped twice. One for me and one for you. How many times did that thing pop out? Anyways, there we go. Thank you so much, Wired Rope. And takes us to 227 on the total. And J-Dog with the VIP in 37 months. I'm not interested in keeping Twitch in the fight. Here's my equalizer over here. Just giving you my Prime over there. Well, I appreciate that so much, J-Dog. And taking us to 228. And he takes the total to 79. But then the total's going to go to 89 because a 10-bomb comes in from Pathalon Phoenix. He says, I don't want those Twitch boys getting comfortable thinking that they're actually going to win this. And he gets us all the way to 89. It's 89 to 33, Twitch. Y'all are going to need to really rally the troops. How many times did that thing popped out? There you go. That's what she said. That's right. Platinum for Hi-Fi is impossible. Really? Why is it impossible to platinum? Like, what did they put behind the platinum? More comments on my PlayStation Showcase video. State of Play works fine for me, says Fuzzy, and unless they had them all piling on each other, State of Play works fine. I typically agree, but now they have too much in view of the public. I think there's too much in view of the public. I typically would agree with you, Fuzzy. I typically would agree with you. They have way too much in view of the public to be like, no, we're not going to say anything. We're just going to do a state of play. Even if they just did a state of play, they've already got too much for a state of play. Let's just talk about that. They have too much for a state of play. You're going to do a state of play and you're going to talk about Lost Soul Aside and Yote and Death Stranding 2 all in one state of play? What, is the state of play going to literally just be those 3 games? Like, do you see what I'm saying? even if you just exclude anything beyond this year, that's too much for a state of play. That would be ridiculous. They would, as you said, Fuzzy, they'd be stepping all over each other. Yo, Death resubscribes on Twitch for 15 months. Thank you so much, sir. Taking the grand total on the week to 239. You love to see it. The friendly little competition between the platforms. What about the Venom game, says Wolf Saints? It'll be 2 years before Spider-Man 2 came out, and it's Miles' game it would fit. I agree. I still think I said it in my upload. If you guys haven't checked out my upload, be sure to check it out. It's about why we should get a PlayStation showcase. I'm going to put it in chat one more time. If you're on Twitch and want to give it a watch, if you're on YouTube and want to give it a watch, I just uploaded that today. If you leave a comment, you might be featured in the video right now. We're trying something new, and if you guys take, you know, the 5 to 8 minutes to watch those videos and then come right back to the live, I've got the link right there pinned at the top. This guy says, one advice, best way to play PlayStation games is just wait for them to come to PC and pirate them day one. No, that's idiotic. I'm just going to hide somebody like that on my channel. I don't want to interact with parasites and thieves. You guys are losers. NBW Doughboy says, I get what you're saying, but I think some of these games might get pushed to 2027, honestly. I think this will be a 9 to 10 year gen. If they push any of these to 2027, there are so many games already slated for that year. There's so many games already slated for that year. That would not make any sense. They've got Cory Barlog's project. We don't know when it's landing. You've got whatever Bend is working on, Blue Point. There's too many devs that would likely be trying to land in 2027. I don't think they would do that. I don't think they would push any of these. And HND Chubb, maybe that's Hand Chubb, I'm not sure. I'm delaying ads one more time on YouTube. Guys, smash the like if you appreciate me doing that. I know we all don't like it. It's a part of the reality. That takes us to 240 on the total. And the contest between the platforms is still a little spread on the day. 89 to 35, YouTube versus Twitch. Thank you so much. Let's see if we have any more new comments. Let's cycle. Oh, yeah, there's, let's see. Oh, yeah, there's a bunch new. Alexander Smith says, video game previews have always been integral in generating excitement, and while my backlog is huge, I need to know what's going on and be added next. Same on the backlog. Same on the backlog, dude. It's getting a little absurd. It is getting a little absurd. We need to see Project Awakening. What's that? What is Project Awakening? 2024, Jones, Flight Sim, Aura, Age of Mythology, Hellblade 2, COD, and Stalker 2 deal. That's not a bad year. Last year was not 10 out of 10, but a solid 8 out of 10. I would say Hellblade 2 was arguably terrible. Indiana Jones, yes. Flight Sim launched in a terrible state and was virtually unplayable, and it got ripped to shreds. Okay, Age of Mythology, I didn't pay much attention to that. Fine. Annual Call of Duty, that's a multiplat. So again, that's an annual multiplat. It's so hard to be like, oh, the annual COD, Xbox is having a really good year. It's always hard for me to care. It's like, okay, yeah, that game was already in production, already slated, already scheduled, but we're going to give Xbox credit for it, okay? And the Stalker 2 deal, Stalker 2 was in a terrible state on Xbox when it launched. I would not credit that as like a victory for Xbox. It ran better on PC. Hellblade 2 was bad? Yes. It was a heaping pile of regressive disappointment. It was worse than the first game in every category. In virtually every category, except for like graphics and mocap. It was such a disappointment. Hellblade 1's my all-time favorite. It is my all-time favorite game, and I had to put up with a bunch of sniveling Xbots who defend everything that company does, and they wanted to act like Hellblade 2 was some triumph. It was terrible. It was a dadgum tech demo. The combat was not. It was worse. Everything about it was a regress. None of it advanced at all from the first game. The first game is superior in virtually every way. They patched Stalker 2 pretty quick. Great game. W for Xbox. I mean, if you're gonna count that as a W for Xbox, I'm assuming then you count every single one of the third-party exclusive deals that Sony gets. Do you do that? Like, I thought Stalker 2 was fine, but I didn't think it was a win for Xbox because it just did not run well on my Series X. I don't know. It felt like another game where if you wanted good performance, you had to retreat to PC, just like when Starfield came out, or when Redfall came out, or when Hellblade 2 came out. You had to like retreat. You had to retreat to PC to get good performance. I don't consider that a win. That's like Death Stranding 2 deal for PlayStation. It is what it is. Right, that's what I'm saying. If you're going to count that, that's fine. But if, listen, I'm equal parts here, Visual. If Death Stranding 2 launched and didn't run well and had performance issues on the PlayStation 5, I would say that's not a very good W for the platform to pay for the publishing, pay for the exclusivity, and then not have it run well. And that's what happened with Stalker 2. Like, ignoring performance issues, I think, is one of the most egregious things we do. Everybody looked the other way for Monhun Wilds. We're going to look the other way for Stalker 2. People look the other way with Jedi Survivor. It got, like, glowing reviews and a solid Metacritic. Like, that should not happen. That should not happen. Like, the Oblivion remaster, everybody's, blinded by nostalgia, but it has a ton of performance problems as well. And it's great. I thought it looked amazing, but like the performance problems in that game are widespread. The longer you play, the worse it gets. There's open world stutters. Like that again is an issue. It's like it's hard to count it as a W. You keep shipping games that are clearly before their date. They're not ready. PC Starfield was horribly optimized, and Todd Howard straight lied in the interview when he said it was well optimized. I'm an old school Stalker fan. All those games launch like that. It's still fun to play, and most fix in a few weeks after. Well, I mean, if you're going to be that generous with every game launch, I hope you're consistent. If you're going to be that generous to a game at launch, be like, well, they're always kind of like that. They're always kind of janky. Okay, I don't know. We'll see if you're that gracious to other titles. Jen comes back in with 29 months in a VIP on YouTube and rounds out the contest on the day. It is now 90 to 35. It's a race to 100. Twitch, you have some time. If you rally now, you can do it. I believe in you, Twitch. Lamau, never forget Puddlegate. Yeah, I mean, Spider-Man 2 people were faking. People were going into photo mode and faking glitches. I mean, that's how pathetic some of those people are. How high would you be if Astro Bot and Square Enix hooked up for some levels, including Final Fantasy themed level? I wouldn't care much about that. I'm not like a huge Final Fantasy guy. That'd be great for Final Fantasy fans. I mean, I liked Final Fantasy 16. I thought it was really good, but I've never been a big Final Fantasy guy. I just never been really my, never been my bag. Never been my kind of game. I mean, again, that'd be awesome for the Final Fantasy fans. What about the people that posted the videos of the glitches? There were people that were literally faking glitches in the game. Like, there was a guy who, like, went to the edge of a building and lied and said he couldn't jump off the building and he was intentionally hitting the wrong button. There was videos of people in photo mode faking glitches. I mean, yes, there was the hilarious cube, and there were people getting, like, physicsed into boxes, like, on rooftops and stuff, but it was all largely overstated. Spider-Man 2 on Steam, and was looking forward to it, but kept crashing and freezing. Right, and that was something I was heavily critical of. I thought that was absolutely ridiculous. What's the point in bringing Spider-Man 2 to PC faster? 15 months, I think, was the window of time if you're going to bring it to PC in such a terrible state? That was stupid. I still don't know why they did that. It made no sense. Pretty sure they patched it, which, okay, I don't think people realize, and this, I'm going to say this about Stalker 2, I'm going to say this about Spider-Man 2 on PC, I'm going to say it about all of them. Oh, well, they patched it in a couple of weeks. Like a month later, it was perfect. Thank you for just confirming that they mistreated the product and as well as the consumer. Like, they basically broke trust with the consumer. All they had to do was wait like a month and the game could have launched in a much better state. Like, that's stupid. Like, then do that. Kick the Spider-Man 2 port down the road by a month. Like, delay your game. Oh, they fix it a week, a month, bit later. Okay, well, then what are you doing? Then delay the game. It's dumb. Milo's with 13 months says, what do you guys think? Will Astro Bot ever go to PC? No chance. It's built around the DualSense. I don't think that they would ever do that. It's a commercial for the console. You literally repair the PlayStation 5 console in the game, and it's a commercial for that in the DualSense, and it's filled with like third-party, partnerships and nostalgia. There's no way it would ever go to PC. I don't see that. He's the platform's mascot, and he rides on the DualSense, and the DualSense is integral to the game. You can have DualSense features on Steam for sure. Excuse me. But I don't think they would do that. That would be very backwards. To be like, oh yeah, our platform mascot and game that's a commercial for our console is now on PC, and if you want to really enjoy it and engage with it, you have to buy a DualSense. Did they sack Sackboy? They might have done it, Hilly. That's right. Wasn't the reason they brought it that fast because there wasn't any DLC for the game? I mean, that might be a logistical reason, but that's not a very good reason, Wolf Saints. I mean, logistically, maybe they were like, oh, we're not going to do a Spider-Man DLC so we can bring it to PC faster. The port was in terrible state when it showed up, you know. My PlayStation mascot was Ratchet and Clank growing up. Yeah, I wasn't a PlayStation guy back then. I think it's undeniable right now that, like, Astro Bot is the platform's mascot. And when the entire game centers around the console and the controller, I do not see them bringing it. I don't see them bringing it to PC. It doesn't make any sense. It would be so backwards. I don't know. There's also rumors that they canceled a Gran Turismo 7 port to PC. PlayStation's strategy on PC could be changing. We don't know. We'll have to wait for an earnings call and see if they speak to it. You know, we'll have to wait. We'll have to wait and see if they speak to it. I'll take your word on it. I don't know a PlayStation or an Xbox. I mean, there's no taking my word for it. You can look at the game and the trailers. I mean, Astro Bot is clearly the platform's mascot. I don't know how you could look at it and not come to that conclusion. It seems blatantly obvious. And again, the way they built the game, it just wouldn't make any sense. Isn't Hell Is Us published by PlayStation Game? I don't think so. I will check right now. Hell Is Us PlayStation Store. Let us go and check. I do not think that Hell Is Us is a PlayStation published game. I believe it's published by Nacon or something like that. Publisher is Nacon or Nacon. N-A-C-O-N. I'm assuming you pronounce that like Nacon. That's coming in September. Yeah, that is not published by PlayStation. Published by Nacon, not PlayStation. Oops, I can't type. There we go. If they were going to do a showcase, you'd think they would have locked it in many months ago. Showcases don't get announced that early by PlayStation. Yeah, they don't get announced that early by PlayStation. That's not true. Well, no. What was the monitor you suggested yesterday? Oops, I can't type. Let's see. If you guys want to check out the monitor I showcased yesterday, it is a Titan Army monitor, and the monitor command links to Amazon. Kyle leaves a comment on my video. If you guys haven't checked out the video, be sure to check it out. As a huge PlayStation fan, this generation has zero identity. What? Honestly, I can't believe I'm saying this, but I really miss E3. There's zero hype. Games take 7 years to develop, and there's no pomp nor circumstance surrounding game announcements anymore. It's just corporate suits telling us that prices will continue to rise, and a trailer drops on Twitter on a random Tuesday. This feels severely out of touch, TBH, and focused too much on Twitter. The events and games have been great. That feels super out of touch. I feel like you just spend your days on Twitter. The events have been great. The games have been great. The announcements have been great. Some of you guys like have literally like smacked your head on Twitter stupid. Like you've interacted with Twitter so much that you're like, it's just suits talking about prices going up. What are you talking about? The events have been great. The games have been great. Yes, this year we're dealing with the pricing thing, like with Mario Kart or Xbox just raising their hardware prices. But like to say this gen has no identity, like I don't know. I genuinely think there are people who like only play live service games or only play Call of Duty, and they're like, this gen sucks. And I'm like, okay, I've played Demon's Souls Remake and Returnal and Ratchet and Clank and God of War and Horizon Forbidden West and Gran Turismo 7 and Spider-Man 2 and Final Fantasy 16, and now we've got Yote and Death Stranding 2 on the horizon. We've got Lost Soul Aside. Astro Bot was an absolute joy and a delight. I don't know what you've been doing, but like I struggled to finish a lot of those games. Like just this year I rolled credits on FF16. Like I don't know. PlayStation's publishing efforts have brought me games like Helldivers 2 and Stellar Blade. I left those out. You know, I didn't play Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, but a lot of people loved it. I don't know what you're doing. If you're like, there's no games, there's nothing to play, I'm miserable. Man, I don't know. I'd get off Twitter and get back to gaming. I think some of you guys just don't play games anymore. There's so many. I don't have time for them all. Even like smaller titles that have kind of come out of nowhere that aren't even related to an individual platform, like Blueprints. Yeah, there was Grand Blue Fantasy Relink. I don't know. I don't know what you're playing. I really don't. And like focusing on the individual platforms, I don't know if there was ever a time where, you know, an individual platform was going insane every month, every year. There's always been a heavy reliance on third party. If you just look at third party, there's been so many great games. If you just look at third party alone, Split Fiction, Expedition 33, Blueprints, Kingdom Come Deliverance 2, Monster Hunter Wilds. I thought AC Shadows was great, bloated, and I got tired of it, but I got like 40 great hours out of that game. I don't know what you're doing. I don't know what you're playing. I genuinely think that people aren't gamers anymore. They play Twitter full time, and they think that everything sucks and is bad and overpriced slop. And it's like, dude, I have not had time for all these dadgum games. I've barely, think about it like this. I've barely used my Xbox, and I still don't have time. Between third-party releases and publishing efforts of PlayStation, whether those are second, third party, or first party, who cares? You got third party releases, you've got the publishing efforts of PlayStation. Just that, I don't have time for. I don't. If Xbox would have been delivering a first party game every quarter this entire gen like they promised, I wouldn't have had time for those either. I wouldn't have had time for them. There's no way. I don't know what you're playing. I don't know what you're doing. Yeah, you've got like things like Balatro. You've got Refantasio. That game had tons of awards and nominations last year. What was it? It wasn't just Astro Bot that was up there a bunch of times. There was a ton of games that was up there a bunch of times last year. Yep, Pow World got a ton of noms. A lot of people liked Black Myth Wukong, even though I think it runs terribly on the PlayStation. Tons of people bought it and liked it. That's a third-party game that did incredibly well. Yeah, Marvel Rivals has taken the world by storm. If you're looking for good live service, what are you doing? What are you playing? Black Myth was snubbed. No, it wasn't. It shouldn't even have been nominated. There were other games with better scores, better reception, better everything. Black Myth was a commercial giant, and 90% of its sales was in one region of the world. Like, that's not representation of the market. No, you're wrong. I can't be wrong. There's nothing to be wrong about here. Historically speaking, it shouldn't even have been nominated. They should have been honored to be nominated. Historically speaking, it was the outlier. You can't be snubbed. You can't be snubbed when you're literally the outlier. You can be wrong, Wired Rope. You can be wrong. To claim that the game with the lowest score was snubbed is ludicrous. You have to see how ludicrous that is. It was the lowest score in the bunch. There were games with far better scores that didn't even get nominated. To claim that it was snubbed is ridiculous. Like, what? It's now, if you this year give it to Kingdom Come Deliverance instead of Expedition 33, I'd be open to hearing you about snubs, because Expedition 33 has taken the world by storm. It's a media darling. Its score is ridiculous. Like, even its soundtrack is trending. Its dadgum soundtrack is trending. Like, you could claim that. You're like, well, that's snubbed. That thing was better, received better, had way more critical acclaim. You can't say snubbed when it's the lowest score in the bunch. It's like the opposite of snubbed. It got what it deserved. Kingdom Come is the one game I could see winning over Expedition 33. Yeah, maybe I picked a bad one. Maybe Expedition 33 is not the right one. I'm sorry, Kingdom Come's not the right one. Like, if Monster Hunter Wilds won over Expedition 33, you could argue snub. That's probably a better example. I think Death Stranding 2 has a shot. of beating Expedition 33. Probably the only game. You'll get no disagreement from me, bro, on your thoughts. I'm ready for Wolverine for sure. Yes, indeed. MTO says they need to do a showcase that stays away from remasters and remakes. Fair or unfair? PS5 has had too many of these lately. Embrace new IPs. Maybe showcase some of their joint studios. How many is too many? 1 or 2 a year? Like, how many is too many? You have to understand, they're not making those for you. The remasters and the remakes aren't for you. It's for the monsoon of people who bought a PS5 that are new to PlayStation. Oh, let me pause the ad. Sorry, YouTube. Like, the remasters and the remakes are not there. They're not there for you. You're not the only person who purchased a PS5. They're there for the people that are new to the ecosystem. I think that's what people keep missing. There are a chunk of PS5 owners that are like, I'm new to the ecosystem, what do you got? And they're like, well, we have Demon's Souls remake, we have Horizon Zero Dawn remaster, Last of Us Part 1 remake, Last of Us Part 2 remaster, Death Stranding Director's Cut, Ghost of Tsushima Director's Cut, Days Gone remaster. Those are all great titles to help somebody build their library with, and they don't cost nearly the bandwidth and time to make as a brand new game. I really do think people need to leave that alone. That is not bad for the platform. That's not bad for the devs. We demonize that so needlessly. So needlessly. There's no reason to do it. It benefits everybody. Like, you just ignore it if you don't want it. It's not. It absolutely isn't hurting you. It's inadvertently helping you that, like, Guerrilla and Bend and Naughty Dog are getting, like, influx of cash by something that cost them so little to do. I don't think it's a problem. They would say those resources should have been used to make new games, which I disagree with. It's such a great way for reinvestment into the new games that you're pining for, you know? It's such a good investment for that. It really, really is. I think the amount of time and bandwidth and cost to do a remake or a remaster, and then what that does for the company inadvertently benefits you. Like, you're literally mad about something that is not bad or wrong, or it that's what's so strange about it. It's like, if you actually zoom out on it, it doesn't take away from anything for you. If anything, it helps you get the thing that you want. Even Xbox is doing remasters and remakes with Oblivion and Gears of War. Right, and nobody should complain about that. Fair is fair. Those are great things for those franchises and those devs. I think a lot of people worry that more companies are going to just keep re-releasing something they already did and not innovate, but that's not really how that works. They use that money on new projects. Precisely what I was just saying. Yes, agreed. Funny part is, the one remake or remaster people want is Bloodborne, and that isn't coming for a while. That has everything to do with Miyazaki, from what Yoshida said. I mean, there's a theory, but he thinks they want to have him involved, and Miyazaki's probably just too busy. I agree they should do a showcase. 1000%. Beyond individual game announcements and hardware reveals, a showcase allows PlayStation to communicate its strategic vision for the future. This includes highlighting commitment to both single-player and narrative-driven experiences and online multiplayer titles. With so many games already announced, it feels like a no-brainer. It just feels like a no-brainer. It's like you already have tons of games announced. You don't have to do almost anything new. I mean, obviously new trailers, but you don't have to, like, come out and announce a bunch of new stuff. You see my comment on the video? What was your name? I responded to a bunch. I've got a new one from NTO and a new one from PW H-Town. And that video is... It's not off to a terrible start. We were experimenting with something. We're trying to experiment with doing, like, videos while I am live. Which, if you've just tuned in and haven't taken a chance to watch it, I'll put the link in the chat again. If you've already watched it, just ignore the link in chat. But if you're watching on Twitch or YouTube and you haven't checked out my video yet on the showcase, give it an old watch-a-rooney. You know, every little bit, 20 or 30 people going over there and giving it love will help it. I like a remaster game. Diablo 2 and Oblivion will likely top my playtime, says Hilly. They don't even remaster their other titles, so it's definitely Miyazaki. His outlook on remasters would probably have to change in order for us to get a Bloodborne remastered. I think that, personally, I think that he would want to do Bloodborne. I can't speak for the man, so I'm just guessing. But I would feel like he would want to do a Bloodborne remaster. You know what I mean? Why do you turn into Ned Flanders when you're asking us to watch a video for you, but not any other time? Huh? Same. Who was Sony? What are you guys saying? I can't wait for the Fallout 3 remaster. Your name is Wolf Saints on YouTube? I don't think I saw a comment from Wolf Saints. Did I reply to you? I replied to virtually every comment that has shown up. I've got 2 new ones. Oh no, here you are, Wolf Saints. Oh wait, yeah, you got skipped over. You said if they have any games that haven't announced that are coming out this year, they can say it now that GTA has been delayed. Agreed. $40 to $50 Venom game could still happen. That could still happen. I still think that could happen. I'm not saying that it is going to happen, but it's still a possibility. And Just James 93 with 8 months of a member light renewal says, "Do you like Final Fantasy 14? I played it since it came out on Xbox. I love it." No, I don't play that game. I don't have time for games. I just don't have time for MMOs like that. I was going to say games like that, but I don't have time for MMOs. So Best Buy confirms its most stores will have limited inventory of the Switch 2 consoles, games, and accessories on the June 5th launch, along with a chance to receive a Nintendo collectible item. There you go. It was in the leaks. I think I love the theory that Insomniac said, look, DLC is not the way. A Miles Morales-sized game will do way better. Right? It'll do better. DLC doesn't generate enough revenue for the work that they have to put into it. If you're going to use the existing city, do a spin-off game with Venom for $40 or $50. It could do as well as, it could do like I don't think it would sell as well as Miles, but it could be in a similar commercial vein of it's better than DLC. Does that make sense? Like that would be potentially better than DLC. To say, well, you roughly put similar amounts of work into the game, and you ended up with something that's probably more marketable and will make more money. I'm not saying to not remaster old games. I'm saying the remasters end up going against game preservation because the original versions end up only available through pirating or key resellers. I mean, I could understand being concerned about game preservation. I would say on the spectrum of importance, like if we're triaging here, I don't think remasters and remakes are the enemy in the room of game preservation. That's not something I would set my sights on. Like, if there was a remake or a remaster of Ghost of Tsushima in like 10 years, I would be like, that's great. I'm not really concerned about preserving the original version of Ghost of Tsushima. That wouldn't matter to me. I don't think that's as important. It would basically preserve the story, the art, the game, and then it would just be prettier. That's an effort to preserve it. It's not the one-to-one preservation that some people might want, but like it's still a form of preservation. Like GoldenEye right now being playable on your Xbox, to me, I think that is a version of preservation. It is. It's still available. You can play it. All the stuff's there. The music is there. The levels, all of it. How a new game is better return than DLC. Isn't that more work? I do think it's more work, but I think the volume is so significantly higher, Zuby. Like the amount of DLCs they sold for Spider-Man 1, and then contrast that to what they spent to do it. And then the amount of copies of Miles that they sold, and then you contrast to the work that went into it. They probably say it's worth it. Yes, let's just say they double their workload, okay, to do a Miles versus a DLC. They double their workload. But if they triple or quadruple their sales, then that kind of settles the issue. Also, they can sell it for $40 or $50 instead of like 10 or 20. So you're making more money automatically per unit sold. You're probably moving way more units because it's a game and not like a DLC. And you just added something that I didn't even think about. You can sell it to people that didn't even buy Spider-Man 2. That might have been like, yeah, I didn't buy Spider-Man 2, but 40 or 50 bucks to run around as Venom, yeah, I'll do that. Like a lot of people might buy it that didn't buy, like you're saying, a larger potential audience. So yeah, there are people that are like, well, I'd love to get into Spider-Man 2 DLC, but I didn't buy the game, and I don't really feel like buying it and playing it all the way through now just to play that cool DLC that I saw. So, like, you're removing barriers, you're moving more units, you're generating more money per unit. I think the math shakes out that it's better to do something like a Miles versus DLC. Especially considering Miles takes place in the city, so it's essentially like a really big DLC, okay? Like, they didn't build an entirely new city. That saves them a ton of time. It's a unique situation for Spider-Man in particular because nobody's going to take issue being in the same city. They're going to be like, well, yeah, that's where it takes place. Not a lot of games could do that, right? I don't think a lot of games could do that. Like the Atreus game that we thought might exist, if that just took place in Ragnarok and all the same places and all the same areas, I don't know if people would have been as accepting of that. I think they're more accepting of Miles because it's like, it just sort of makes sense. The backdrop of the city is not as important as like dialogue, the new fighting moves, you know, the story, the setting, the soundtrack, all of that I think kind of elevates Miles to a place where people kind of ignore the fact that like it's in the same map. Ghost of Yotei will get its own state of play. Spider-Man 2 didn't. Spider-Man 2 didn't. I argue in my video, if you guys haven't checked it out yet, in my showcase video, I'm like, I want Yotei to get the Spider-Man 2 treatment. You get to the end of a showcase and you give Yotei like 20 minutes. Which game do you think's bigger and has more pull, Spider-Man 2 or Yotei? I would say Spider-Man 2, and it didn't get its own state of play. They did 20 minutes at the end of a showcase, and then they gave the release date announcement to Jeff Keighley. I could see them doing the exact same thing this year with Yotei. Well, not the release date part. We know the release date. You know, maybe they give Jeff Keighley, you know, the pre-order bonus or the special edition. Well, we already know what the special editions look like. We already know what they look like. So, Yeah, Ragnarok. Yeah, Ragnarok didn't even get its own state of play. If you're not going to give a state of play to Ragnarok or Spider-Man 2, these guys that were really upset about like Borderlands getting its own state of play, I think Death Stranding 2 will probably get its own state of play. Do you want to know why? I think PlayStation likes to treat their partners well. I do. They gave Final Fantasy 16 its own state of play. It's interesting that they seem more prone to give their partners their own state of play as opposed to their own stuff. I wonder if there's kind of an internal strategy there. Like they think it's better to like bolster a partner and really set the partner up to succeed if that's part of the exclusivity deals or something. I don't know. Maybe they get paid for it. It could again just be part of the deal. I mean, Sucker Punch. I love Sucker Punch in Tsushima. I wouldn't elevate Sucker Punch over Insomniac or Santa Monica. God of War, Ragnarok, and Spider-Man 2? Those are far bigger titles for the PlayStation platform than Yotei. And dude, I am stoked for Yotei, but the facts are the facts. If they didn't give a state of play to Spider-Man 2 and Ragnarok, I don't even think they gave one to Forbidden West. Forbidden West is the big sleeper in the room. Everybody always forgets them. Horizon's enormous. Courting potential acquisition. It could just be optics. Think about it. They don't have to convince anybody that like Yotei is their game and Sucker Punch is their dev. They don't have to convince anybody that like God of War Ragnarok is their game and that Santa Monica is their dev. They don't have to convince anybody that Spider-Man 2 is their game and then Insomniac is their dev. But they can passively make the public think that like, oh, Final Fantasy 16 is their game. Death Stranding 2 is their game. Borderlands 4 is their game. The optics of doing a state of play for a third-party game, the impact that has on the public could be significant. Horizon did get its own? Why don't I remember that? Are you sure? They did a Horizon Forbidden West. That's so long ago. I'm having a hard time remembering. Horizon Forbidden West state of play. It as a state of play game reveal. Did it get its own state of play though? Discover Forbidden West in our next state of play. We're excited to show more. This Thursday, May 27th, join us on a very special journey into a new uncharted lands. Oh, you're right. Okay, sorry, I was mistaken. Okay, so Tsushima got a state of play, and Horizon Forbidden West got a state of play. Ragnarok did not, and Spider-Man 2 did not. Okay, there's room for what you're saying. My mistake. I didn't realize Horizon had one. I thought it didn't. Okay, so maybe. Listen, you're not going to get any grumbling from me about that. The more I see of Yote, the more excited I'm going to get. I'm not going to complain about that at all. I'm not. I just feel like showcase treatment could be pretty dadgum awesome. You give them that final 20 minutes. At some level, I think that's a bigger deal. I think it's a bigger deal. Ragnarok got one too? So they didn't. So I wonder if they changed course with Spider-Man 2 because they decided to finally do a showcase. Maybe that's why Spider-Man didn't get one. So maybe I'm looking at this upside down. I don't think Ragnarok got a state of play. State of play story trailer. I think they revealed the story trailer during a state of play, did they not? Yeah, I think they did it during a state of play. Spider-Man 2 got one? No, it did not. What? No, there was a state of play trailer, but I don't think it was a state of play. Spider-Man 2 and Ragnarok did not get their own state of plays. Man, if I got that wrong, I'm losing my mind and need to get checked in somewhere. Spider-Man 2 got 20 minutes at the end of the showcase. 20 minutes. It was enormous. After that, they didn't give it any of that special treatment. They did trailers, announcements, and marketing. Spider-Man 2 did not get a dedicated state of play, and Ragnarok did not get a dedicated state of play. I'm confident in both of that. I just made the mistake on Horizon. I forgot that Horizon had one. I'm having the Mandela. I'm having a self-inflicted Mandela effect. Yeah. I was mistaken about Horizon. I'm not mistaken about Ragnarok and Spider-Man 2. I remember being surprised that they didn't get their own. God of War had a story trailer at a state of play. That's right. I'm telling you, they've been very, very inconsistent. They've been very inconsistent. Microsoft has announced plans to lay off 3% of its staff across all teams, affecting thousands of employees. I'm not going to be one to defend Microsoft, but you have to look at their pattern of hiring. You got to go all the way back to 2019. They have still not dropped below pre-2019, pre-2020 levels. They have hired way more people than they've laid off. It sucks, but they mushroomed significantly. Like 3% is a lot of people, and it sucks, and you hate to see it happen. But like, as far as adding jobs to the market and bringing people in, Microsoft hired an insane amount of people from 2019 to now. Should Jade Raymond and Fair Games get a nice 10-minute spotlight in the PlayStation Showcase? I don't know if now's the time to do anything with Fair Games. Everybody's very tepid and concerned about Marathon. I think that's probably a bad idea. I think that's a bad idea, personally. I don't know. I think right now people are very like lukewarm and kind of about PlayStation's, live service efforts, and Marathon certainly hasn't helped. Now I know Marathon is Bungie's baby, and it wasn't an initiative. It wasn't something that people said, it wasn't something that PlayStation said, hey, we want you to build this. It was something that they opted to build well before they were even owned by PlayStation. and their handling of the project and seemingly wanting to ship it before people leave. I mean, none of that's on PlayStation's watch, but that doesn't matter to the public. All the public knows is PlayStation wants to do live service. A studio they own just walked out with a pretty non-interesting live service game. Yeah, Helldivers added weapon customization and a new, the Illuminator here. The Illuminate are here. Thanks to everybody who left a comment on the upload. It's doing fine for what we did. Uploading a video while you're live is a bit brazen. It's a bit brazen, but we wanted to experiment with it, mainly because that 8-minute video in a month is sort of a dead video. So if we were going to experiment with the video, we thought that was one to experiment with. It wasn't one that, like, you know, it wasn't like some 20-minute tour de force of research. It was just sort of like a quick opinion piece. Like, we can experiment with this one. Are you talking about God of War base or Ragnarok? 2022 State of Play had a 3-minute Ragnarok trailer. We're talking about Ragnarok. Yeah. Get better internet? What's wrong with my internet? We should probably schedule gameplay right now, but it has time to kind of sit a little bit on the channel before we go live. We are going to be playing Doom the Dark Ages today. Okay. If you guys are interested, we are going to be playing it on the PS5 Pro. People are like, well, why aren't you playing it on the Series X? That's where it's getting the best performance. And it's like, okay, you have to understand what's happening. It actually runs at a slightly higher resolution on the Pro, and the frame drops are not that significant. Every platform is getting frame drops. It's just that the Series X is getting less. That is not a compelling enough reason for me to switch where I play the game. I also pre-ordered the collector's edition for PS5 like a long time ago. So there was no turning back, and I wouldn't over something so minuscule. Like, it to me is not, that is not a deal breaker in the least sense of the word or phrase. If it was like running like hot garbage on the Pro, yeah, I would have paid the upgrade fee and I would have played it on my Series X. But it's so minor. It's like none of these are reasons to not play it here. It's very strange how these console tribalists are concerned about where I play a game. I don't understand that level. You guys have got some weird energy. Yeah, like if it was running the way Black Myth runs on PS5, yes, I would have paid the upgrade fee and I would have played it on my Series X. I wouldn't have hesitated. I'm like, well, I'm going to play it over there because I want to play Doom Day 1. So, id Software has not spoken to the issue yet. I've seen no evidence of like a day one patch. I mean, obviously I can turn it on and check right now. I've not seen any discussion about it. Revenge of the Savage Planet had like an update yesterday. Your music rocks. Thank you. This is all AI generated synthwave. We're gonna try and make all my music available soon. We'll have a YouTube channel with all the synthwave as well as my kiddos' songs that they wrote, like my daughter's phone, Dying for a Phone song. I'm also working on a series of concept albums where I'm writing the lyrics, and it's sort of based on everything I've been through, and we're trying to bring that as well. I want them to be very basic videos where you can just kind of see the lyrics. So we're working on all of that. That's sort of like a little side project of mine right now. You're playing everything on Ultra. I defected to the Master Race. Listen, I would never try to persuade anybody away from playing Doom on PC. It's a gorgeous game, and these guys do good work. So yeah, crank it and let your eyes just enjoy it. Reforge Records. Yeah, we're debating between a couple of names. I'm surprised Sony has never done their own first-party attempt at a Metroidvania, says MTO. Maybe they're afraid too niche. They could partner with a smaller company. Check the China Hero project. I think there are some in there. I think there are some Metroidvanias in the China Hero project. It's definitely time. They've been quiet for too long. Yeah, I agree 100%. I'm just replying to some more comments. That one was from PWH Town. Severn Evans says, while I agree a showcase would be great, I don't necessarily think that they will. They seem more than happy to split things up with several state of plays. They definitely seem to prefer state of plays over a PlayStation showcase. Yeah, I agree with that, actually. Why don't you game on PC? I just prefer to game in my living room. I don't want to come in here and game. I don't want to put a PC in my living room. The PS5 Pro gives me everything I want out of a game. I get great performance. I can turn on some lighting. I can turn on some fidelity, and I get 60 FPS. I've had zero issue with, playing AC Shadows in my living room. I literally felt like I was playing on a PC. Like, it looked great and it ran great. I'm a man of simple tastes. Like, I was happy. I was hoping to come back to console this gen. I was hoping to come back to Xbox because I only went to PC for Destiny 2 and Fortnite. Destiny 2 and Fortnite, if you wanted 60 FPS, that's what you had to do. You had to go to PC. Now, Fortnite updated itself later and gave old-gen consoles 60, but Destiny 2, if you wanted 60, you had to be on PC at the time. Yeah, so I left behind my Xbox One X. So I was excited when Series X came out. That's what I thought I was going to become my home console. And so I bought that, and then throughout the 5 years of this gen, Xbox has been incredibly disappointing, and now PS5 Pro is like my main platform. So what's funny is a lot of the people that, ridiculed me and called me a pony and said what I was doing was ridiculous, they're all now making the jump because they're seeing what a lot of us saw a couple of years ago, that we weren't a priority anymore. So, there are people that move to PC, which I think is a completely legitimate option as well. I think a lot of people just realize they weren't a priority. It's like, the console platform's not a priority for Xbox. How many Switch 2s were you able to snag? We got 2 pre-orders. Neither of them have been canceled. One is with Walmart, one is with Target. Most people would strongly disagree with you that 60 FPS in any genre doesn't feel right. Huh, Corey? That was a huge mistake. Xbox One was underpowered and overpriced. Wait, who are you talking to? 60 FPS on an FPS game doesn't feel right? What? Don't buy Gears of War on PlayStation 5. Microsoft secretly wants to buy Sony and become a monopoly. Phil Spencer already wants to buy Nintendo and Valve. He won't stop at 2 of them. Homie, there's no way that regulators would allow them to buy Nintendo and Sony. There's also Japanese law that would make it very, very difficult for Microsoft to purchase Nintendo or PlayStation. I don't think that would ever happen. It would never happen. The Japanese government would make that very difficult, if not near impossible. Regulators would make that very difficult, if not near impossible. I also don't think Xbox has any interest in doing that level of acquisition ever again. I think they're done. I have a question for you. My buddies like to talk about the console versus PC thing. Maybe I'm thinking wrong. Doesn't it make sense to say that consoles are still PCs, just closed systems, meaning you can't really upgrade them? PC is completely different because you can do so much more than just play games. No one's doing college homework on their Xbox, so the argument in my mind has never made sense. The PC depends on the person's budget. Just console gets more of you in the door. Oh, gets you in the door. The comparison is a comparison of value. So, okay, it's like the difference between if you want a steak and you go to the grocery store and you buy a steak that's like pre-wrapped, that's been sitting there for a while, you're going to pay a certain price, okay? But then the guy who works as a chef and makes really good money and can afford a little bit more, he's going to go to the local butcher and pay 2 to 3 times what you spent. And he would say he's getting a superior steak. At some level, he's probably correct, but you're operating in different value systems. You're like, no, if I prepare this properly, I can, you can really do good work with the steak from the grocery store if you know what you're doing. If you do reverse sear or sous vide, or like you know what you're doing, you can do good work there. Okay. Not going to be quite the same as a fresh, ribeye cut from the local butcher that's like, locally owned, grass-fed, that, the meat's not that old. Okay? You're just operating in different value systems. So, yes, you can spend way more than me, and you can get better things, performance, lighting, whatever, in your game. That's factually true. I can't negate that. That would be ridiculous to try to claim that. I don't care, is the issue. I'm getting what I want on my TV, in my living room, out of the Pro, and I spent way less than the average PC Master Race enthusiast. I spent way less than you. Oh, but you pay for PS Plus. I still spent way less than you. Stop it. You're embarrassing yourself. Stop. Don't even try. The PC enthusiast that's really keeping their PC in primo condition and upgrading and making sure you got all the nice stuff, we're not in the same threshold of spend. We're not even close. We're not close. And I bought 2 Pros. And that's the thing. It's always been a clash of values. Like, you value that to the degree that you're willing to spend that. I don't. You know what I mean? So, if you're willing to do it, man, more power to you, dude. Swipe that credit card. Go. Spend the money. But don't tell me I'm doing something stupid or getting scammed just because we have different value systems. You know the ribeyes at the grocery store have been sitting there for a couple of days. You know it's not fresh. You know the hybridity, bro. You know the quality of meat over here at the frickin'. Shut the frick up and let me just enjoy my steak, dude. Let me enjoy what I'm going to enjoy. July 11th. Superman. Yes, that's not too far away. I'd like to comment on your video and to add on to it. If we don't have a PlayStation showcase, at least there will be an Xbox show, and those games will be coming to PlayStation and other third-party pubs as well. Now, let me check the front door. Oh, no, the fan must be back. I got back door and front door alerts. Okay, I can sneeze. Oh. Well, let me check out your comment here. If there's no showcase this year, I don't think they will do one until PlayStation 6. Probably correct in that guess. Yeah, you're probably correct in that guess. If they don't do a showcase this year, I don't think we get one until they announce the PlayStation 6. Adrian says, not going to lie, this year is stacked. I hope for the people who it wasn't a shock for GTA to get delayed unless they didn't catch the first show that clearly showed that without words. Too many games are scheduled for that release window. Excited for many as well. 2025 is nuts. Yeah, 2025 is nuts. It really, really is. Let's see what you said, Brooklyn. If we get a showcase, great. If we don't, I think that's great as well. The last showcase from PlayStation have just either been poorly paced or just put together to shut everyone up that keeps spamming them. As far as I'm concerned, and I mean this respectfully, without any comp from anyone else in the console space, I don't think Sony gives a crap. Mid-gen time is the best time to do one, in my opinion. I think because we're mid-gen, it's time. Like, it's like, no, it's time to set the stage for what's coming this year and beyond. I think it's time. I do. PlayStation Forever says, either way, I'm still not buying Gears of War on PlayStation 5. I don't buy PlayStation for Xbox games or Nintendo games. This is a dirty tactic by Phil Spencer. I don't think there's anything dirty going on. I think people are really, really overstating what's going on, right? I think you're somebody on an alt looking for attention. Your account's only a year old. I think you're probably somebody just trying to stir up some kind of weird commentary. I don't think there's any weird tactic going on. I think Microsoft spent a bunch of money and they're going for ROI on that investment. They are now considering themselves primarily a publisher. That's all that's happened. There's not a dirty tactic. It's not a Trojan horse. It just isn't. I agree with you, but certainly as PlayStation stands right now, they don't care enough. I mean, in 6 months' time, Brooklyn, we talked about this earlier this year when everybody kept saying, where's PlayStation's games, where's PlayStation's games, blah, 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 blah. And I was like, okay, let's go for the last 6 months. They released Astro Bot. They announced Intergalactic. They announced Ghost of Yotei. They announced Saros. What were the other ones that we listed? They showed a ton of Death Stranding 2. And then there was one that I'm missing. There's a sixth thing that I'm missing. It was like in 6 months' time, they either released or announced something significant. I was like, I don't know what everybody's up in arms about. They actually are doing a very good job with the cadence of their announcements, letting you know that there's a lot going on and there's a lot coming. I don't know where they don't care thing is coming from. Like, where do you get that they don't care? I thought the state of play was great that they did. Did I miss Intergalactic? I thought I said Intergalactic. Astro Bot wasn't in the last 6 months. You weren't listening. I said earlier this year when we had this conversation, which would have been in February, I said, look at Sony's behavior in the last 6 months. You just misheard me or something. Like, back when we were talking about this, when that state of play happened and everybody was grumbling about no games, no games, no games, I was like, in the last 6 months, what are you talking about? I was like, in just 6 months' time, they released a game, they released a first-party game, and announced like 5 more. Like, what in the world? How is that not enough? Whether it's Intergalactic or Yotei or Saros or Lost Soul Aside or Death Stranding 2, I'm like, I don't know what you're talking about. I'm telling you, there's this weird thing, like, everybody puts blinders on with Sony, and they just ignore half of what they announced to make this weird claim that, like, they don't have anything. They have no games. They're not doing anything. They suck. They're bad. And it's like they've released way more first-party games and way more first-party publishing efforts this gen than Xbox has. It's not even close. You want to play these weird games where all of a sudden you count Ghostwire Tokyo and Deathloop as those launched as PlayStation exclusives. But, well, now Xbox owns them, so we're going to count them. It's stupid. It's so stupid. It's so clear which side has delivered more first-party and first-party publishing efforts this gen. It's not even a competition. It isn't. Now, that contest is about to get a lot closer, but it doesn't matter because PlayStation's now going to be getting all those games anyway. So it's like, by the time when Xbox finally caught up and is now sitting to like actually go toe-to-toe with annual publishing efforts, it doesn't matter because they're all coming to PlayStation anyway. So as an Xbox guy, that's got to stick in the craw a little bit to be like, well, they finally are coming out and they're finally swinging and they're finally hitting a cadence to publish and put out as many games as PlayStation, and they're going to put all the games on PlayStation anyway. So the best thing you can do now as an Xbox fan is plant your butt on Game Pass Ultimate or PC Game Pass and enjoy the value. Outside of that, there's like, it's like the landslide has happened. Hang on, I got delay ads. Delay ads. Oh, another one? How long? Yeah, 2 weeks is not bad. It'll be over before you know it. And you're not you're not doing school, or you're not doing the... People are forgetting that Microsoft has like double the studios now. Yeah, that's the other thing, is it's like, of course they're hitting a cadence of delivery that matches PlayStation now. They have like so many more studios. So yeah, like, again, if we're going to start talking about publishing efforts and we're going to start talking about who has what, and I'm interacting with Brooklyn saying like PlayStation doesn't care, they're in the lead position. I don't see evidence of PlayStation not caring. I don't. I see heavy investment in China Hero. I see them really, really winning with the Death Stranding publishing effort. That's such a big win for them and Yotei. And then they got Lost Soul Aside as one of the first bigger, China Hero projects coming to the market. So they're always saying that Sony is a third-party publisher. Where are the Xbox and Nintendo ports of God of War, Tlu, Uncharted, Astro Bot, and Horizon? That argument's so disingenuous. Yeah, there's no intellectual credibility there. Bringing your games to PC 2, 3, and 4 years later. You got one that came after 15 months, and then it was in a bad shape. Now we've got rumors that the Gran Turismo 7 port was canceled. Like, it's not a comparison. It isn't. Trying to make them equivalent, I think, is brazenly dishonest. It is. It's only a talking point to stroke the ego of the fledgling Xbox audience that wants to feel good about what's happened. Like, everybody knows deep down that's not true. Oh, PlayStation's a third-party publisher because you can wait 2, 3, and sometimes 4 years to get some of their games on PC. You're not getting all, and you're certainly not getting them day and date. You got to wait multiple years sometimes. That's not even remotely the same. It isn't. Trying to make those equal is so willfully dishonest. There's no reason to even take it serious. It is quite literally just because a bulk of your audience captured, and you got to make sure that audience feels good. So you keep saying nonsense that makes them feel good. It's silly. There's no intellectual credibility to the position at all. None. Because when Xbox was publishing games on PC and the console at the exact same time, I never once referred to them as a third-party publisher. Not once. No, I was like, no, they're still doing exclusives. They're still doing exclusives. When they bought ZeniMax and everyone was like, yeah, they're going to do exclusives where Game Pass lives. That was to bolster the Xbox platform. That was to bolster Xbox. Those were exclusives. I've been consistent in this. I never once referred to them as a third-party publisher back then, because when they started to shift into this strategy, what did I say? Oh, they're becoming a third-party publisher. I didn't say, oh, they already are. I said, no, they're changing. They clearly were grabbing exclusives and grabbing games to try to bolster their console. They still had exclusives. Oh, but they were hitting PC day and date, so they're not exclusives. No. Exclusivity doesn't have to be one platform. Exclusivity just means you are excluding other platforms. You're excluding PlayStation. You're excluding Nintendo. How many times did we hear buy an Xbox, buy an Xbox, buy an Xbox? How many times did we hear that? Why? Because they had exclusives. The logic of the evolution of Xbox doesn't make sense if they've always been a third-party publisher, because they're putting their games day and date. And anyways, that's more extreme than even what PlayStation is doing. That's more extreme. They were putting their games day and date on PC. PlayStation's not even doing that. Some of the games take 2 and 3 years to even show up. It's not equal. If you do any analysis at all, just break down the logic of it, it's so brazenly and willfully stupid. It is not true. Nobody in the first 3 years of this gen, from 2020 to 2023, nobody was saying, yeah, Xbox is a third-party publisher. Nobody was saying that when they bought ZeniMax and said this was to bring more exclusives where Game Pass lives. Nobody was saying, what's Phil Spencer talking about? There's no such things as exclusives. What's he mean? They put all their games on PC and console. Why is Phil Spencer using the word exclusive? Nobody did that, because you'd look like an idiot. It wouldn't have made any sense. You'd have been like, yes, there's still exclusives. He's talking about bringing games to their ecosystem, to the console, to the PC. That to them was how they did exclusivity. And nobody acted like gotta scratch my head like an orangutan and be like, well, that's awfully confusing. Why did Phil Spencer use the word exclusive? There aren't exclusives anymore because Xbox publishes on PC at the same time. These people are disingenuous. They're dishonest. None of them were saying that back then. None of them were saying that back then. They were celebrating the fact that Xbox was going to get exclusives from the ZeniMax purchase. Nobody was like, hey, you can't use the word exclusive because they publish on PC. But now that Xbox has fully evolved into a third-party publisher, well, now we're going to shift the goalposts from like, well, PlayStation's a third-party publisher because, 2 or 3 years later, some of their titles end up on PC. Oh, for Pete's sakes. How pathetic. That argumentation's so pathetic. It's so flimsy and stupid. There's no substance to it. There's no credibility to it. It's disingenuine from its head to its toes. It really is. And they're going to clip it and say that's ponies moving the goalpost. Well, in order for them to maintain their falsehood, they will call me a pony and say that, oh, well, Pony said this back then. I didn't say that back then. I didn't. I remember covering the ZeniMax acquisition, telling people, what did you expect Xbox to do? What do you expect them to do? Of course they're going to make these games exclusive. At the time, we thought Elder Scrolls will be an exclusive. Nobody was calling out anybody for using the word exclusive back then. You weren't. Why? Because they were considered exclusive. And these people are liars. They'll change the narrative and repackage everything now. It's like nobody took issue with anybody saying exclusives back then. Nobody. There are clips of Bleed Green guys talking about Elder Scrolls is going to be an exclusive. And no one's like, well, it's not an exclusive because it's actually going to land on PC too. Nobody said that. They're only saying it now because their team switched and they don't like it. So they tried to diminish what Sony's doing to be like, oh, no, yeah, the industry's going this way and PlayStation's basically third party. Oh, no, now we're going to say, okay. We didn't say that back when they bought ZeniMax and said they were going to be bringing more exclusives to where Game Pass lives. Nobody gut-checked Phil on using the word exclusive. No, you didn't do that, did you? No, because you're dishonest. You'll only do it now because your team switched. And it's not even the same. Xbox has been publishing on PC and console at the exact same time for years. And PlayStation's not even doing that. They're not. Now, they'll do it with live service games, but that makes sense. They said they were going to do that years ago. Herman Hulse said that live service games will be multi-plat at launch because you're trying to increase your funnel. They're going to do it with Helldivers. They're going to do it with Marathon. They're going to do it with Fair Games. They did it with Concord. Acting like a game coming to PC years later suddenly makes it not exclusive and suddenly means that PlayStation doesn't care about exclusives and PlayStation's moving away from exclusives. The only people that say this are being willfully dishonest, and their market analysis is embarrassingly stupid. It is. Like, they couldn't argue themselves out of a wet paper bag. They have no idea what they're talking about. They just repeat and parrot what people want to hear because that's how they keep their audience. You start speaking the facts and you lose that audience. Believe me, I lost a lot of Bleed Green audience members and longtime subs and longtime supporters because they did not like what I was saying. I wouldn't stroke that ego. I'm like, no, I don't like what they're doing. This is terrible. This is not what I wanted from this platform. It's not what I wanted from the platform at all. Hang on, I'm delaying ads one more time. I missed some super chats. I'm sorry. PWH Sound with a $5 super chat. Like I've said before, right now Sony is more important to Microsoft than Xbox is. Microsoft is solely focused on ROI. Siri with a $5 super chat. The console war has been reduced to nitpicking first and third-party publishing. I'm still here. Go Halo. I wouldn't consider you Bleed Green. You just like Xbox. There's a giant difference. There's a giant difference. You can't celebrate the ZeniMax acquisition and cheer about getting exclusives and now claim that if a game comes to PC years later, it's not an exclusive. No, you can't do that. You're being dishonest. You're being willfully dishonest. You considered games hitting Xbox and PC exclusives because Xbox has been doing that for a very long time. And we still use the word exclusives. Phil still used the word exclusives. None of that makes any sense under this new paradigm that these buffoons are using. None of it makes sense at all. It's like, well, then what Phil said is utter nonsense. What Phil said is utter nonsense. What the CFO said is utter nonsense. What they analyzed in the FTC trial, it's all utter nonsense if none of those games were exclusive. You can't make heads or tails of what people said in the past when everybody moves the goalposts in the future. It's like, well, now what do we go back and reinterpret everything? I don't understand how the gaming audience as a whole repeatedly fails to recognize the shifting corporate sand under their feet, falling for the corporate lies and smoke screens. I mean, it's because when you've sort of been evangelized and propagandized and you've been turned into like a team, you're a cheerleader. I mean, you're not worried about those things. You're worried about cheering. A $2 chip from J Hart. 64% of Xbox money made on PlayStation equals third-party publisher. Why are we even supporting the Switch 2 and its whole licensing issue and the whole new change of the EULA? We don't own the system, just a license to play it. Huh? A $5 super chat tip from P-Dub H-Town says, when do you think downfall of Xbox started? Was it the Xbox One reveal, PC day and date, or Game Pass? I think the fall of Xbox started when they started focusing on the non-gamer. It started with Don Matrick. Like the idea that, well, we need to go after the non-gamer. I think they're still going after the non-gamer. They're still, like, they're subsidizing a dead and dumb strategy, and they're subsidizing it with PlayStation and Nintendo. That's what they're doing. That's what they're doing. Game Pass is a failed strategy. It is. Game Pass is a failed strategy. You went after non-gamers. You went after people who wanted Netflix for games, okay? Like that, you were targeting people that weren't willing to buy games, and you wanted to give them a way to get into games, right? All you did was give gamers a really cheap gaming option, and the people that you were trying to appeal to, the non-gamers, you failed. It's not a coincidence that, like, on the heels of creating an entertainment box, TV, right? They're trying to appeal to non-gamers. You think it's a coincidence that they basically came out with the Netflix of gaming solution? What were they trying to do? Game Pass was born out of this idea of, like, we're trying to appeal to non-gamers. We want to give them a very ease of access inroad into gaming. And it has failed. It has fundamentally failed. It's why they've raised the prices. It's why they moved day and dates to Ultimate. If Game Pass was booming and doing everything they needed to do, you wouldn't move day and date to Ultimate and raise the price. That's capitulation to the failure of the strategy if I've ever frickin' seen it. Okay? Now, this gen, they try to appeal to non-gamers. What do? They offer a very, very low entrance cost box. Combine that with Game Pass. We can get people who have been reticent to get into gaming. We can get people who have been reticent to buy a console with the cheaper console. Series S completely sabotages the gen, makes them very, like, acidic to third-party people. Like, well, you want to build for that? You want to deal with that? Like, initially when the Series S is announced, there's tons of devs that weigh in and talk about how that's going to be a problem and a concern. The guys from id Software weighed in and talked about how it was going to be a concern. All those tweets disappeared after id Software was purchased and under the ownership of Microsoft. So that also was under the same idea. And what are they doing with everything as an Xbox? They're doing the same thing. Like, listen to Phil's words, listen to Phil's phrasing. They're going after the non-gamer. They're going after the non-gamer. They're saying, oh, well, the console market is stagnant. It's not growing. We're selling consoles to the same people every year. Well, Xbox isn't, because they're down year over year by so many percentage points. They're actually losing customers to the competition. Whether they're losing customers to PC or PlayStation, we don't know the exact number. But they're losing. They're not even getting the same number of people to buy the dadgum console. So what do? Oh, everything's an Xbox. Your TV, a Fire Stick, a phone, a tablet. What are they trying to do? They're trying to appeal to the non-gamer. What do they talk about? They're trying to bring the games to where the people are. They're trying to bring their ecosystem to where the people are. Well, where are the people? Well, they're not gaming. They're trying to get people who don't game into gaming. And I don't think it will work. I think it'll be another failed strategy. They're subsidizing these failed strategies by selling games on PlayStation and Nintendo. That's where all their money's going to come from. King Mobile on the mobile platforms with, like, Candy Crush and stuff. And then publishing efforts on PlayStation and Nintendo is where they're going to make all their money, right? It's where they're going to make the bulk of their revenue. And they're going to subsidize these failing strategies. Because I don't think their efforts with everything as an Xbox, I don't think you're going to see conversion. You're not. You're going to see existing customers utilize those access points. You're going to see existing customers use a Fire Stick and use their smart TV to cloud. Cool, awesome. New customers are not going to say, I've held off on gaming, but I'm going to sign up for a sub-service, buy an expensive controller from the store, pair it with my television, my iPad, my tablet, or whatever, or my Fire Stick, and I'm going to start gaming. That's more complicated than just buying a console. That's more complicated. Gaming through your television or a Fire Stick is more, there are more steps required than just buying a console and plugging it into your television. Again, it'll be a failed strategy. There will be no ROI on it. You're not going to get new user acquisition from Fire Sticks, tablets, and smart TVs. You will get existing customers, people you already have, to say, oh, this is great, this is convenient, I can access Game Pass on my phone, tablet, smart TV, Fire Stick. Great, that's good for them, but You're not going to see new user acquisition through these funnels. It's too complicated. It's too many steps. It's too many steps. If they're already not gaming, that's certainly not going to be the steps they're going to take to start gaming. I bought Xbox controllers at GameStop recently. I traded a bunch of old controllers in, and I bought 2 new ones because I was wanting to play Towerborn with Madam. I wasn't sure if the kiddos were going to want to play or not, so I wanted extra controllers just in case. And they're not cheap. They are not cheap at all. Licensure versus ownership with Nintendo. Nintendo new TOS expands on the actions they can take against users for doing anything that Nintendo doesn't like. If you modify or otherwise misuse your Switch 2 in any way, they say that they can remotely disable the entire console, not just online play. But you bought a license to use it. Oh, the Switch 2. Oh, I saw that. Them saying that, like, that's how they're going to combat piracy. Yeah. I saw them talking about this. You see them getting out of the hardware business altogether? That's the big question mark right now. Their hardware sales are down so bad, and then they raised prices on their existing hardware. A lot of what they're doing, to me, communicates deprioritization of hardware. Like, I'm not confident in their future hardware plans. I'm not. I just don't see it. A teaser tomorrow? Oh, a teaser tomorrow for Superman. Oh, yeah, there's a new trailer tomorrow for Superman, yeah. Corey says, I think that the showcase thing needs to stop. He commented on my PlayStation Showcase video. They have State of Play, which announce games and provide release date. Death Stranding has already had 2 major showcase-style marketing events and a really strong 30-hour preview. Lost Soul Side's being delayed to August means the marketing for it now, after having pre-orders and several videos showing the game landing up to previous May 30th date, might seem a bit premature. Showing the game via State of Play in July makes more sense since it gives the devs time to actually make use of the delay. Same is true for Yote. Start marketing in October for a game in October is not smart. They did it for Spider-Man 2, so you're wrong, and you're wrong there, severely wrong there. They marketed Spider-Man 2 in the summer, and it was coming out later in the year, just like Yote. This is why I'm against roadmaps and showcases forecasting games into the future. The games community has already shown that it does not want concept stuff. It does not want early bird builds. I mean, I'm not going to respond to this. You didn't really interact with my video. You're just going on a full-on rant that has nothing to do with my argument in the video. I argue in the video that we've got 3 games coming this year and 4 games coming next year. These games are already announced. We already know their timelines. We already know they're on pace. The only one that's a question mark is probably Wolverine. You're not even interacting with my video. You're just ranting about roadmaps and games that get delayed. That's not something that PlayStation has done. PlayStation did a showcase 2 years ago. Nothing in that showcase was like shown out of order or promised and not delivered. Like, you're ranting about Xbox showcases and projecting that onto PlayStation. PlayStation hasn't done that. I like State of Plays, but I think every 2 years doing a showcase is completely fine, especially when you have that many games that could be potentially talked about, announced, or shown. Or not announced, I'm sorry, talked about, shown, or given release windows. Like, that's 2 paragraphs that don't even interact with the topic of the video. Or what's contained in the video. I feel like you typed that up and didn't watch. I know what people are expecting. They have Wolverine, Saros, Intergalactic are all coming. Literally, Death Stranding 2 and Yote aren't even in anyone's hands, and yet people have this gimme mentality. It makes discourse in gaming utterly toxic. Those are reasons why a showcase would be huge. Like, what are you talking about? Those are reasons why a showcase would be huge. Nobody's saying gimme. We're saying you've got so much you could talk about, it would make sense to do a showcase. I don't think anybody's being gimme. It's like, now's a great time to do a showcase. You have so much. What you ultimately can do is not feel the pressure to talk about anything else. It almost protects you from that pressure to talk about anything else. Like, you don't have to talk about what Cory Barlog's working on. You don't have to talk about anything that, Bend or Bluepoint or any other studios. You don't have to talk about any of it. Santa Monica and Guerrilla, they can all stay in the background. You've got stuff that you've already announced we know is coming. That's a perfect time to do a showcase. You're halfway through the gen. Hang on one. There we go. I'm just going to see if there's a day one patch for Doom. We're going to be playing it very, very soon here. Check for update. I've got the latest version. And the only thing that got updated today is it said Helldivers got an update. So. Oh, hang on. I need to put a thing in the community reps. Since this person's making game news vids again, I'd love to hear him rant about how Microsoft should give up on Japan when Halo inevitably bombs on Nintendo Switch 2 in Japan. Huh? I only want to showcase if they're announcing new stuff. I don't really want to see the stuff they've already announced. Let me I want to do this now so I'm not distracted later. I owe you guys 10 members from yesterday and 10 today. Oh, I owe you 20 on YouTube. All I need is Dress Training 2, not a new showcase. Yeah, I'm going to be switching to Doom gameplay in like 8 minutes. So if you guys are watching on YouTube and you haven't hit the like button yet, do me a favor and do that. Let's try to get to 300 likes. We started really, really strong and had a great conversation, and we're still going strong. So thank you guys so much for doing that. And we've had a little friendly competition here. It was a race to 100. YouTube stopped, but oh, no, they didn't. Sirius secures it with a 10 bomb out of nowhere as I'm saying it. Just like that. Sirius says, no, we're going to win. We're going to win. The race to 100. I need you to change your name, Sirius, because my stupid phone always thinks I'm talking to it. Like, Sirius does not sound like the word that the stupid phone reacts to. Completely different words. You won. You won, YouTube. I'll do the 10 that I owe you in the Doom stream. He used to be Review Tech USA. He made many videos about Xbox consoles. Yeah, he also did a really dishonest hit piece on me, so I don't really care what he does with his content. You can re-enable it requirement instead of just using the name. I thought that's what it was. I thought I had to say hey. I thought I literally had to say the word hey, and like I'm not saying hey, I'm saying Sirius. You could turn it off. I like it. They changed it with the Past Fall's major update. The Punisher shirt's tough. Thank you. Oh, just the name activates it now. Oh. Well, I need to change that because that's super annoying. Change it to MASH. There was Horizon 3 news. According to sources, Horizon 3 is slated to come after the Horizon multiplayer game. And that is now putting Horizon multiplayer game maybe next year in 2026, and then Horizon 3 in like 2027. Yeah. There's a setting you can change whether it listens to hey or doesn't listen at all. I don't mind it doing it. Let's see. Let's go to the settings here. Talk and type. Oh, I want it to just be hey. There we go. Perfect. Siri. Perfect. That fixed it. So when I say Siri you, it shouldn't do it anymore. Why are we even supporting the Switch 2 and its whole licensing issue? A whole new change to the EULA. We don't own the system, just a license to pay it. How many times are you going to span that, Sammy? Like, with all due respect, do what the frick you want with your money and I'll do the same. Like, you don't need to come in here and constantly bang on a drum like that. Like, nobody freaking cares. Seriously. Sorry. Consumers don't care. We gave up owning things a long, long time ago. We did. You can ideologically be opposed to that and be like, oh man, we gave up ownership for convenience. Yep, we did. We did. Yep. Okay. Next discussion, next topic. Like, I don't freaking care. There's nothing you can do to stop it. There's nothing you can do to change it. Yell and scream and moan and then justify stealing games, I guess. Like, that's what some people do. Like, I don't care. I'm going to play Mario Kart with my kids and have a ball. But you don't own the system and they can turn it off. Okay. I'll try to remember that when we're all laughing and having a good time on my couch. I'll try to remember your religion. You know what I mean? Ravenstorm with 15 months on Twitch. Thank you so much, Raven. 252. Sorry, Jason. I didn't mean to do that. Like, if you've come to the decision that you don't want to do that, fine. But, like, coming in here and constantly spamming that or, like, posting it multiple times to be like, why are we even doing this? Because we're consumers and we don't give a frick. Like, we're paying money to play a game. Like, the odds of it going the direction that you're worried about it going, right? Oh, but you don't own anything. Okay, so you don't buy digital games anymore? Do you not buy anything on Steam? Do you literally not buy a single thing digital because you basically don't own it anymore? Do you not buy movies or anything on Amazon Prime? You don't buy games digitally? I guarantee you're not consistent in this. You don't. Like, you have completely surrendered genuine, authentic ownership a long time ago. But now we're like, but Nintendo changed the EULA. And they can shut your Switch off remotely if you do something they don't like. Yeah, so can PlayStation and Xbox. Yeah. If I tamper with my PlayStation so that I can cheat, or I tamper with my Xbox so that I can cheat in a game, or I try to, like, jailbreak or steal or pirate, yeah, they can 100% lock the thing and make it so that it doesn't work. I mean, I don't, it doesn't seem like a new thing. You can totally get banned. You can totally get locked out of your devices. Like, that's not an abnormal thing. You're not tampering with it? What do you mean? The thing that I read says that they're going to do that if you try to pirate games or something. Like, they're basically protecting themselves to say, we're going to shut your Switch down if you try to tamper with it to pirate or jailbreak it. Do you not buy anything digitally? I think almost nobody's consistent here. Nobody's consistent here. If you buy things digitally, then you don't own the thing. You own a license to play the thing. Oh, but I steal, pirate, and emulate so that I own it in perpetuity. Okay, good for you. You're like 2% of the entire global gaming market. So, great. You worship at the altar of game ownership and justify doing things to the games outside of terms of service or stealing or whatever. I don't care about any of that. I don't. I don't care. Like, that's not a priority for me. I literally bought a bunch of games digitally, starting, I don't know, 10 years ago, and I've continued to do it now, and I've never run into a problem of being like, oh yeah, they just took the game away from me, I can't play it anymore. That's not happened. So, Microsoft as a whole is starting to sink and crack at the edges, says Parasito. Windows is slipping downhill relatively quickly. Upping their console prices could be due to falling behind on Game Pass or game sales. My theory is that Xbox has had to drastically downscale their Xbox fabrication, resulting in less effective bulk pricing for manufacturers and chip manufacturers. I don't think the market truly understands what a powerhouse the Switch 2 will be in terms of performance. Interface controller gimmicks are expected from Nintendo. 1080 120 isn't. Xbox increasing their prices for the hardware was timed horribly considering the Switch price, PlayStation price changes, and their rumored go at Steam. I think that the only way forward for Xbox is to go back to basics and to drop everything else. Multiple versions of hardware, Microsoft Office execs, purchasing every company instead of enticing people to come to them. It all needs to go. Otherwise, I don't see Xbox making it through another console generation. I don't think they're worried about making it through another console generation. I think they're worried about publishing and recouping costs through that. Getting banned for false reporting allegations is what worries people. So how exactly is somebody going to get you banned and they're going to falsely allege that you're tampering with the device and trying to pirate games? Like, what are you talking about? I don't understand what you're talking about. Someone's going to like call Nintendo and say, hey, Charlie down the road is trying to steal games, and you're completely innocent, and then Nintendo's going to nuke your Switch? Like, what are you talking about? Gamers are really good at creating and fabricating boogeyman. I don't know what you're talking about. Who is going to report you for stealing or tampering or pirating? I mean, people were really boastful about it on their YouTube channels, and I think a lot of those videos have disappeared because they know that Nintendo's litigious and they'll come after you and nuke your channel for bragging about stealing Nintendo games. But like you know what I'm saying? Like, let's see how bold all these ideologues and pirates are. Let's see how much they're willing to go out here and talk about how they steal Nintendo games. Let's see how long they're willing to do that for. Let's see how bold and brave they are. Amazon accidentally deleted copies of 1984 of a bunch of people's Kindles. Any system can malfunction. A kill switch is dangerous. I mean, I'm not going to say it's not dangerous. I'm not going to change my behavior as a consumer over it. I'm just not. Sorry. And I know people get really angry and they call me a corporate shill because I'm like, what do you want me to do? I like it. I'm going to play it. I've been super critical of Nintendo and I hope they lose their lawsuit against Palworld. I've been critical of how they've handled that situation up one side and down the other. I think they're bad for gaming with their trademarking and their patents. But again, me voicing that opinion doesn't do much to stop them other than being like, let's cheer for Palworld. I mean, there's not much we can do. I can't stop them from saying Mario Kart's 80. I can't stop them from saying, if you tamper with your Switch 2, we're going to lock it. What do you want me to do? I'm not going to do the rage bait Nintendo rage farm that so many people are doing. I know it's great for viewership and channel growth, but I'm not going to do it because it wouldn't be genuine. It wouldn't be from me. It would be a grift. It would be a grift viewership grab. People want to talk about grifting. I mean, that's freaking grifting. You're just constantly in this cyclone of emotional manipulation and rage bait. That's grifting. There's nothing genuine about it. It's just, well, what are people angry about? Okay, make a video about what people are angry about. That's grifting. Going against what people are saying and feeling in their emotions is the exact opposite of grifting. It's just me being genuine. You don't have to like it, but the idea of oh, that's a grift. I don't think people even understand what grifting means anymore. I think they just say it because they know it's an internet dirty word and they don't actually even understand what it means. Grifting would be me just being like, oh yeah, I'm angry about Nintendo. And then the other thing that I got, I saw Brooklyn mention me on, they're saying I'm a grifter and I don't care about GTA 6. I've just been grifting off GTA 6. What? I've been heavily interested in GTA 6 from a technological aspect, commentary about performance aspect, sales aspect, innovation aspect, gameplay aspect. I've been interested at all those levels. And all I've said is, If it's 30 FPS, I'm not going to play it. I've never been a big GTA guy to begin with. They're like, yeah, he's grifting. What? It's like the biggest and most anticipated game ever made, and there's so many elements of GTA 6 to commentate on and to discuss. But because I'm not like a dyed-in-the-wool GTA 6 fan and played every game and know every person's name, I'm not allowed to cover it and talk about it? What are you talking about? I cover Call of Duty from time to time, and I've not played a couple of them because I kind of aged out. I don't like them that much. Like, what do you mean? I'm not a diehard Monhun fan, and I played Monhun and talked about Monhun. Like, I don't know. I mean, you try to gatekeep me from talking about things. Maybe you should consider what you're gatekeeping yourself from, and that's making good content instead of just being a constant, copy pasta of other Parasite channels. I mean, maybe you should do that. Spend skill points and originality and innovation in your own dadgum content instead of focusing on what other bigger content creators are saying. Like, it's just freaking weird, man. It's weird energy. All right. All right, Dune the Dark Ages PS5 Pro. We're going to switch. All right, we're going to switch directories over there. I'm going to need like the briefest of breaks though before we do this. Give me 1 second. I don't want to do that once I'm in the game. Do me a favor on YouTube. The likes did not move. We're doing that stall out thing again. You guys that lurk and listen, I know sometimes the phone's in your pocket. Help me out. Help me out. And, okay. Smash that like button. I'll be right back. I switched glasses. I like these ones more for, okay. For like going under my headphones. Okay. Let me get this tweet sent out. All right, you guys on YouTube don't have to do anything. I'm sorry, you guys on Twitch don't have to do anything. Just hang tight. Console. All right, YouTube, I'm going to put a link in chat. That's where we're headed. I'll redirect you. Thanks so much for checking out this video. I am going to be diving in for the very first time into Doom: The Dark Ages gameplay on the PS5 Pro. I want to test it out. I know there are some issues. Seemingly, we're hoping those get patched. The enhancements don't seem to be all that significant on the PS5 Pro. Start menu music goes pretty hard. So, if you like this Doom: The Dark Ages gameplay, be sure to hit like if you're watching later, and join if you want to be a part of my other content that I do for members. I'm going to end the previous stream. I'm going to redirect folks over.